On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, is it Valentine's Day or Mother's Day? And is there a difference? Yes, but actually no. All this and more later, because it's time for the sequel you all have been waiting for. Demeter is coming to FGO. Sorry, I just thought of an intro joke, and I thought maybe I shouldn't do that, but I'll say it anyway, so you'll know that I thought about it, because I was going to say, I'm one of your hosts, Sickle Omega. With me, as always, Hammer Lucky.
Yes, but with that out of the way, I hope everyone is enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka Tactical Mama Action. And while we here at Studio Mega like to bring you the latest in FGO-related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events with the JP and Ian versions of the game, so anyone not wanting spoilers should go enjoy chocolates from the murder. They absolutely count. Also, did I say Reluted earlier?
I don't know. I was too busy thinking of my own stuff.
Thinking about his own stuff.
No, it's not anywhere near Mother's Day. But we are talking about seizing the means of production.
The means of production.
The abundance. But yes, we're here. And yes, they do count. You'll see what we mean by that in just a little bit when we get to the news. And a few other things. But, it's Let's Talk FGO. We are back in our normal time slot. We're sorry about the slight delay, but it was important for reasons. Furious working. And we'll move into our regularly scheduled programming shortly. First, I would like to remind everybody this episode is brought to you by our wonderful and beautiful patrons and all our other listeners. We'll have more on that later. I will, at the beginning, while people are still listening, because I'm sure you want to hear all about Demeter, also do a little bit of extra Patreon plug. Doing some other stuff over there. You know, no longer am I rushing to release a Richard Wanted on a weekend, though that's, coming back. That's going to activate tonight and be for the weekend, if those of you want to get back in there. But, talk a little bit about Rain, because we don't have anything to talk about with the tabletop campaign this week, because we didn't. Dallas was trapped in LAX. True fact.
He was actually in a Delta Green scenario.
Yes, that's Star Court 2. The court is the food court of the mall. Not the mall, the airport. Security is... You'll never surpass the security checkpoint. But, for Rain, where we were right now, I was announced at the end of the last session, which got posted earlier this week, that I was going to write some short fiction. And I did write some short fiction. And you can get that on Patreon at any level. $1 and up level. You can read Earliest Adventures Chapter 2. Also, if you go on Patreon at the 5 and up level, the $5 and higher level is our earlier videos releases. You can check out my Final Fantasy XIV tabletop RPG big review. It's like 2 hours long, because it is a cover-to-cover review. And so you can check out the early release there. That will probably go public if you are okay waiting this upcoming Wednesday, which is our 14-day. But I posted it to patrons as a tester to make sure, it's really the first video I've done of its exact type, so I wanted to make sure, my creative vision wasn't crazy, and that, audio levels are balanced and my transitions don't burn anybody's eyeballs out. Nobody complains that I keep using the Vaporwave filter. It's okay, I'll use it a little bit. And so you can check it out. And that's still important because the Patreon version will maintain my original creative vision, because I uploaded a tester number 1 to YouTube, and it looks like we're going to have to swap a couple of songs. So I will have to work on that edit over the weekend. But, like I said, you can check out the original there. And many other fine Patreon products. But that means to move back to regularly scheduled business, it's time to check in with everybody's favorite Kohai.
Senpai, 起きてください.
Sorry, it took a second for my audio button to play. That means it's time for Wake the Fuck Up Senpai, a regular for pro tips. I don't really have a great one this week. I just want to let you know that it can be a long way to 3 million points. I don't know why they keep doing 3 million points at Valentine's, but they keep doing it. The math just must work out. But if you want all your rewards, remember to pace yourself. You've still got, I think, like a week left. So, don't go crazy style. Slow and steady. Doesn't burn you out, hopefully. And also, on the off chance you are acquiring one way or another a lot of chocolate, make sure to pace yourself on that, too. But that is the end of the pro tips that I literally came up with like 2 hours ago. Let's move on to Records from the Throne, a regular treatment topic. Pretty simple one from me this week. Completed Valentine's event. Grail secured. Working on the point ladder. My Summer Ibuki can blast the 221 node pretty good. So, we're farming all the currency as well, which is good because there's mats. So we are working steadily on it. I've not actually gone through any more Valentine's scenes. I'm pretty sure that if you don't grab the CE from the gift box, the date doesn't lock in. But I've just been busy working on stuff. So my plan is to go ahead and fire through all my chocolates tomorrow anyway, because that is actually the Valentine's Day.
That's my plan
Grab
as
them
well. I did do all my ladies get my chocolates, but I still have to give them.
Yeah, I only fired through Saber Medusa's. There we go. So many servant names remembering all. So yeah, I need to catch up on my brand new scenes and then actually check out the chocolates because I've been working on some stuff. But tomorrow is a perfect day for it, which is also actually the Valentine's Day. Sorry, cough. Also, speaking of patron benefits, chat has reminded me that it's 11 days currently, so you got just a little less than 2 weeks.
Plenty of time, as long as you don't wait until the last minute, like I know some people do.
And you got to make sure to actually do your work, especially if you're doing last-minute story clears, because there is point gates. But if we don't have anything further to add to that, we move on to, did you finish your master missions? To finish your master missions this week, you need to defeat 3 balanced servants. I think that's the second neutral. We've only been doing this for like 9 years, but yeah, I don't remember which one the balanced is changed to. Normally it's, neutral like D&D, but they also put neutral on the front, so instead of true neutral, it's neutral, so they need to... The words are written with slightly different kanji, so they had to change it so you could understand which one this meant. I'm pretty sure this is the second one, so keep that in mind. You then also need to defeat 20 enemies, and then 40 enemies, not servants or certain story bosses, and acquire 50 of each currency. That's biscuits, marshmallows, and strawberries, all of which are fondue dipped this year. Yes, you can accomplish all of this by doing the event. So, let us proceed to the news with Skelograms. I can say it this way because it's Friday the 13th. It's Friday the 13th now. It won't be by the time some of you listen to this, but it is currently. Sorry, I just had a horrible clown makeup flashback because the state of play was at 7 a.m. on Friday the 13th in Japan. But no, there was not Kingdom Hearts news. Anyway, we have a couple of news items for you. Number 1, in EN, we have yet another free quest backup. This is just, we've been doing it for like 6 months, I feel like, and this is just a thing we're going to keep doing, I think, forever. Free quest backup, Chukutebaken pickup summon for Valentines, starting on the 12th, ending the 24th. So we are continuing this trend. You get a bonus EN banner. This is entirely new to the global servers. This time it is Kyokute and Summer Suzuka, plus the Valentine CEs. Baken is not actually a bonus servant, but she is a writer, so since Andromeda is also a 5-star writer, she might help you out if you're struggling with free quest nodes. Suzuka's, I think no matter summer or not season, Suzuka's a great fit for Valentine's shenanigans. Definitely going to be looking forward to seeing her Valentine's scene because it is, from what I've heard, it's pretty fun. There's a Tamamo cameo in it, so we get to move through some things. So that'll be a fun time. But yeah, I think it's literally just that Bakken hasn't had a proper rate up since last year, and she is a 5-star writer. But the big one is JP, announced shortly after we did record last week's episode. Aftertime Valentine's Day 2026, The Mystery of Mom's Chocolate. Starting the 13th, going until the 6th of March. So they are starting a little late, but we are carrying through quite a lot further. This one is pretty explicitly mother chocolate themed, including the fact that we are going back to special lock-on chocolates, and they are specifically mom lock-on choco, which will, of course, in similar to previous years of the super lock-on chocolates, will give you a bonus to the servant you pick. Now, in case the aftertime part didn't make it clear, this does require the aftertime prologue cleared to get in there. And I did ask chat to hold on to something for me, so yes. We are looking at a, fun variety of new scenes you can see. Of course, obviously, you've got all the servants who just came out at the Springtime Floralia event. Heavy Nyobo, Old Man Ash Blossom, Flora herself. Yeah, I think this image is in reverse order, so, the oldest servants who are now applicable are the Audio Call 4 Metatron gang, so Metajon, Lilith, Dante Alighieri. You've then got Typhon Ephemeros, because she came out last year in her event. We, of course, have for the anniversary Madame Prez. It's going to be a big one for everyone. All of our fun summer friends. Summer Tiamat, Summer Crane, Huyan, Kremhild. There's Noah. There's our friends in the Guda Guda event. There's 2 whole Lizzes. Lord Logrez. And, of course, Demeter. It's her event. You're going to have a Valentine's. I expect if she's rolled, she's got if they roll back the stats on who your mother lock-on chocolate was, Demeter's gonna win a lot in that category, I think.
I think so too. Yeah.
Because yes, she is the new servant, Lancer Demeter. They did change her class. Her Olympus Lost Belt form was Caster, but I think it made more sense there. Now she's got her.
She's wielding
Yes, she's got her.
She's got a scythe, which is, it's a long pointy stick. Close enough.
Yeah, and I mean, if not that we've seen him straight up, but if one of Perseus's forms is supposed to be Lancer, the scythe or sickle that Demeter is supposed to be had is probably related to Cronus's, sickle, scythe, or harp, which was his signature item as a harvest god, and so on and so forth down the line. But yes, Demeter is the focus, and not just with, the naming and the mom's lock on Choco. The event we've also talked about, I've already seen some screen caps of apparently something from the event story of checking out everybody's mom levels. Demeter and Reiko score pretty high, but of course, Emiya is EX. Mom levels cannot be quantified.
As is good and proper.
Yeah, no. So, this one seems to be a very fun one, obviously, with, being properly in the aftertime story block and letting us kind of address all of these things. It's pretty cool. It means you got to have current story clearance so you can catch up all that stuff. So it's going to be pretty cool. FGO did warn everybody that if due to the sheer size of Valentine scenes at this point, if you want to do the data download, you need 30 fucking gigs of space.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it's so many audio files. I think even at this point, I can't even do that, and I have a pretty beefy phone that was passed down to me. See, I got an SD card in, so if we can sideload the data, I think we can fit it. But yeah, most normal phones will not be able to handle that shit. So I'm glad they give you a warning. It's big, it's chunky. Doman's is probably high because of one of the random things stuck in him. Though, of course, I think there are also some gags we can make about Doman there as well. But in addition to this, the stream that announced all of this showed it all off. We also got follow-up on when things are happening, and the first new story chapter for Before the Aftertime will be in June. So obviously we'll require the Aftertime prologue cleared, but yes, they have announced when the actual story release is going to be, so that'll be June, a little bit before anniversary time, so we'll get to see what's going on with the follow-up story and what we're doing. Yeah, close to Annie. Not as close for JP as it will be for us, but yes, close.
Does that mean we're going to have Story Summer and Annie super close together? That's not great.
Yeah, like usual. Not always like that, but for us, because of the compression, yeah. I mean, actually, it depends on when in June. If it's early June, that might be late May for us, if there's also any further events in JP, right? If they have any July events before anniversary, they'll probably have to shuffle some stuff around, so we'll see. With the global server, there's always that chance that, usually they have to move stuff that's before anniversary up, a couple of weeks to make up for the gaps, which means that banners tend to hit us sooner than we'd think. Again, talking about how, Ordeal Call 2 is probably early March, so, not that far away, But, does probably mean we're gonna run that together. That's right, yeah, it's a July event, the twins, which I think the two of them, the duo, that was already announced for late June for us, I think, on the roadmap. That's actually on the schedule. But yes, that is our news so far. Great, glorious, cool. Should be keeping you all up more on that. But that means it's time for the mailbag.
So it is time for this week's Let's Talk FGO Mailbag, the segment where we read what you have to say and comment accordingly. This week, we only got 4 lovely comments, and we'll get through them all right meow. At the top, we have Firepower Aficionado, who says, Dear Lucky and Omega, no question this week, just sending good vibes. Wah, 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 wah. Just sending good vibes and wishing you well. I said that already. Whatever. Keep up the great work. Now back to staring at the hourglass. Nikkei has gone on to their next big events. We have the Licorice Recoil collab happening right now, but also something that is probably a lot more interesting to many people is the next 2 story chapters have dropped in there, and as usual, many people have blitzed through them, and now we are like, all right, give me more. How dare this? We got wait another 3 months. Heck.
Speed 'em, read 'em.
Every time we do it, it's just all wait, I'm already at the end? No! I need more! More! Ugh. Every time. They always just answer a little bit, but then they make you have 3 more questions. You're like, shit! But enough on that. We move on. The next one comes from the Tower King to exceed at the new Valentine's scenes in JP, as is many people, I assume. Question, hey guys, with new Valentine's scenes on JP, which are the ones you're most excited for/interested in. Anyway, that's it for me. Sending good vibes your way. Wah, 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 wah. And hope you have a great evening. Well, for me in particular, Madame Prez, Lilith, and Summer Tiamat, I believe, tops my list. I think those are the three I'm most interested in.
Madam President, I think, is gonna be a big killer.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, if we go in, I'm looking at the collection of servants. I'm like, we might go in on Liz. That might be the right time of year for that.
Like the Liz's are cool and stuff, and but also probably Summer Lip as well. I like her regular form favorite. Her regular form Valentine is like one of my favorites as well. So it's good. Oh, I almost forgot about Typhon. That one's probably gonna be very cute as well.
Typhon of Embers is another one. Yeah, that should be interesting as well. I'll also say that I know it's recent, obviously, but considering that she just came out after Super Hype, it is very fun that we get Omi-san like immediately right before Valentine's. Also, in a Valentine's that's about Mother's chocolate, so that'll probably be a fun one.
So moving right along, this next one comes from Ready for a Spooky Valentine's. Howdy, Lucky Domenico. Other than Lucky's sleep schedule being completely out of whack because the games are fun, hope you're having a good Friday the 13th. My question this week is short and hopefully simple. And what is your favorite thing from the recent state of play? I mean, I think that's easy. I think, God, no, it's fucking simple. It's the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2.
Yeah.
Finally, no, Metal Gear Solid 4 will be free.
Yeah, I mean, both are free, because the HD port was PS3, and it was previously a PSP game. Or Vita, I think, technically, for Peace Walker, but yeah.
You see, I own Peace Walker. I could, if I wanted to, I could put that in a PSP, which I own. I'm just waiting to experience this with Omega, because I don't know if Omega has, Peace Walker.
Oh, no, yeah. I played it in the PS3 era HD collection.
So
I'm fully kitted on Peace Walker, but for me, it's like, specifically the Metal Gear Solid 4 finally off PS3 is like, that's crazy good.
Oh, God, no.
I saw some people be like, oh, they just emulated it, or I even saw some people joking about it being the cloud version. No. Master Collection is not just for PS5, guys. It's not just the cloud version. It's gonna run on Steam and on Nintendo Switch. Original flavor. Which I'm sure is going to make your OG Switch fucking keel over and die, much like Old Snake. But yeah, no. So that's amazing to hear, and like I rewatched like some people live react as well, and that moment still popped because they're like talking about like because the build up was really cool with the Konami stuff, and we'll talk more about it later in the What's Up Zone. But like that moment where like their first thing is like, oh, we have a big list of announcements, then it's just Metal Gear Solid logo, and you're just like, oh, Master Collection Volume 2, Metal Gear 4, hell yeah!
Like I said, I am slightly disappointed because, again, they did not put the acid games. It looks like it's just for Peace Walker and Ghost Baba as an extra. So I'm curious of like what has happened to the acid games and Portable Ops.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. It sounds like they're doing what may be the smart decision and saving that for a Volume 3.
I don't know if acid and Portable Ops is enough for a Volume 3, man. I'm going to be real.
I mean, you've got, 2 Acid games, there's Portable Ops Plus. I guess it depends, like, first of all, like, are they going to... Because I saw some people discussing this. Are they gonna remaster Revengeance? Which I don't know. They don't have to, because I'm pretty sure you can play that on current-gen consoles.
If you were to put it in a collection, I guess it is. It is a very good game. Like, I like it. Like, because, like, remember, on the first one, we got so many games. We got, like...
1 and 2.
Like, 1 and 2, we got Metal Gear 2, Solid 1 through 3, and then... No, we didn't have Ghost Babel, because that was the...
Let me check, actually. Pulling up the list. What's in it? It was the American-only release, Snake's Revenge.
Snake's Revenge, that's what it was. I was like, I know it wasn't Ghost Babel, but there was something else in there.
And they also had the separate, like, downloadable VR missions. So, let's see. Looking at it, so yeah, Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake. Snake's Revenge wasn't real. It was doing. So we got Acid 2, Acid 1, Acid 2, Portable Ops. Let me actually look up at Portable Ops Plus was just a re-release. Yes, it was just the...
Okay, it wasn't really a re-release. Okay, I wasn't sure.
It was actually no. It was a standalone expansion, but it was an expansion for the online features.
Oh, okay.
So probably
they
not
can probably make that one.
They'll probably make that one block, and if there are plus features, they'll be included.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's Metal Gear Solid Mobile, and
Yeah,
that would be like a bonus game
Yeah.
for like N-Gage. There's Touch. Social Ops was a defunct mobile game. They probably can't port that. And then Revengeance, which, like I said, technically that was like they did re-release that on the follow-up gen, but it was originally released on PS3, so like they could consider porting that one to a collection. Like, it would be an oddball sale as a package, but I think you could do a $50 or $40 package that's all the acids. Actually, no, I'm wrong. I'm looking at it. It's on PC now, but there's I don't see a release for PS4 for Revengeance. It's 360 and PS3, so yeah, you can still play it now on like PC because it released on like Steam and stuff. But yeah, so that could be a solid core of like all the spin-off games, because obviously like Revengeance wasn't made by Konami directly. It was made in cooperation with Platinum, but I'm sure you could get Konami could probably shake Platinum to let them re-release it. Wow, shit. Sorry, I'm reading the Wikipedia entry for the N-Gage and mobile phones. Metal Gear Solid Mobile canon takes place between Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2.
Oh, interesting.
So like that's definitely like a weird side game you'd stuck in a master collection. So like they might have enough stuff for a 3. It would probably be like scraping the bottom of the barrel, but it would be like comprehensive packaging. I guess actually I should check. Like Acid was developed by Konami Entertainment Japan, like straight up.
Yep.
No sub studio. Yes. So no, they own the rights to that. It's
That's
obviously
like
a weird one.
It's a weird one, but I still really did like it. It was a weird card-based game. You had to literally build decks to do things, but it's fun. Omega, I think you get a kick out of it. It combines two of your favorite things, Metal Gear and card decks.
Yeah, no, I've always thought the Acid sounds super cool, but I never owned a PSP, so like that would be a really good thing to put in a master collection. It's just I think that like obviously the sheer scale of probably porting technically 2 PS3 games, because I'm sure that the version of Peace Walker they're using, because the version of Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 they used was the one off the HD collection on the PS3.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're going to be using the HD collection on PS3 version for Peace Walker as well. So that's like, those are both going to be pretty beefy. I believe you can buy them kind of piecemeal, like on Steam and PS Network. So I could still see them doing one disc to kind of bundle all our remaining side games on. But yeah, no, the Metal Gear stuff is what I'm most excited about. They heavily imply that this will not be like the last Metal Gear thing they do ever. Like they're still in it. Konami is. So I guess we'll see where it goes. But like the amount of excitement for Metal Gear Solid 4, like I cannot understate. Like that state of play was killer. It was amazing. Metal Gear Solid 4 is like my number one announcement from it. Peace Walker is also going to be really cool because I'm going to get to do the co-op stuff with Lucky, because they confirmed that that's in. They're not porting Metal Gear Online, which makes sense because honestly, Metal Gear Online was kind of niche back in the PS3 day, and I think you would not get a lot of server activity these days, especially if you had to design fucking crossplay. But Portable Ops has online co-op and versus features that they're porting over, so like that's something that I didn't get to touch because I was playing. Not quietly by myself, but it was a different era many years ago. 15 years ago that the HD collection came out? Not quite, but almost. It was like 2013, I think, was the Legacy collection. Oh, and actually one more cool thing I should throw out there. They've also said that for sure, while it won't have online, Metal Gear Solid 4, the Master Collection port, will come with the Metal Gear Solid database, which was a little downloadable thing they released with 4, which was just a interactive encyclopedia about the history of Metal Gear up to that point. By topics and timelines, so like it's a very cool little detail. I think they said they're gonna port the prologue novel, but yeah, no. So like they're adding bonus features. That's super cool. So hey, guess what we're doing in August?
Yeah,
we're just stream Metal Gear.
Ooh, excuse me. We'll talk more about everything else at the State of Play later, so you can look forward to that. But last but not least, we got Agent 418 who says, "Hello, Lucky Omega. Have a good weekend, y'all. We're finally gonna get back to playing Rain, and I am so damn excited. So damn excited."
Yeah, everybody's super hyped for Rain. It's good to get back into it. character moments, complexity, all that stuff. Okay. But I believe that's number 4. Sorry. To clear my sinuses for a second. But with that number 4th, this means it's time to go into free talk. And I guess that the people out there just kind of assumed that's where we'd go. But I am surprised nobody did write a mailbag question asking us about our favorite Valentine scenes. Obviously, like I said, I haven't done any more of them to comment yet. Check back in next week with me. But yeah, final impressions of the Valentine's event. I completed the story. Lucky, have you completed the story?
I have completed the story, yes.
All right, so we're done with that part. Ugh. Sorry, itchy eyes. But yes, so let's talk about it a little bit. I think it was neat. I think we did some good visual tricks at the end there.
We did. Although I am still hoping that we can, make an FGO2 at some point. While we are doing some interesting things with effects and backgrounds and stuff, it's at the end of the day, it's still, just a bunch of effects on, a base sprite. So
it's still visual novel format. The Type Moon team are really good at doing that pretty hype. Like, there were already some cool visual effects and sequences in, Fate Stay Night over the years, and other Type Moon works. But yeah, it is fundamentally still visual novel format, so would love a little extra, spice. But yeah, all in all, the story was pretty straightforward. It is kind of funny that, Columbus was basically straight with us because he wasn't Columbus.
Nay, he was the ferryman, Charon.
Yeah, it was Charon himself. Play the Hades Charon music. Cute little addition. I think most people probably had an inkling when the coin thing happened.
Yeah.
Talking about his silver coins, his drachma. But yeah, no, I think it's a pretty neat thing. We do a weird thing with Columbus's characterization, but I don't hate it. Of like, everybody asks, "Oh, who did you yearn to meet?" And he was like, "Well, God Almighty, actually." And it's just like, everybody's kind of like, "Huh?" But I think it does track with the kind of guy Chris Columbus is. Like, he's not quite the same guy as like a Blackbeard and Bart are.
No.
But yeah, no. I all in all, I think it's pretty good. The one a day kind of cameos of everybody was pretty good. I think we got some good inclusion of characters there. The Kali segment was very neat for a variety of reasons.
I love her just petting the mice.
Yeah, she's just like,
yes,
help us. I like you. Yes, you're great. And the Daitokoku Tens are just like, help, send help, please. She's so scary. Obviously I think it was on stream or something, but we did talk about Kremhild's moment.
Ah, yes.
Oops, my Balmung has slipped. Whatever you say, there are not banners behind me. I don't know what you're talking about. By the way, I would like to reiterate, I definitely don't want to see this person again ever.
That's so good.
Chocolate Kremhild, don't you see Siegfried all the time? Shut up. Just imagine her putting her hands in her ears and being like, la 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 la, can't hear you.
That does sound like something she would do at some point.
Doesn't count. And I mentioned them, you get the kind of vibe of the scenario with characters like Rama and Galatea, much more typical, like, yearning for their separated love. And then, you get fucking Blackbeard and Bart, who are just like, the fast forward effect, as they're like, I haven't met her, but I know who the perfect girl for me is. Play the sounds. So, like, it for a Valentine's event where, you're doing... God, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about, like, I wonder if it's a pain in the ass or not to write, like, for FGO events like this, where it's like, okay, you have to do it in seven sections. There's one story drop a day, and then you have, like, a prologue and an epilogue for like, setup and denouement. So they can be very formulaic. This one, I think, kind of cleaves to the formula, but is not terribly bad, and does have a decent payoff. The Chocolate Underworld, Andromeda, kind of, as usual for a brand new SSR, I think we get a good look at kind of what Andromeda's about as a character, and she gets a mini character arc. She is pretty fun because there's that whole section of when she, jumps out of the hole and she's in her third ascension in space mode, and we're just like, whoa, you've changed. And she's just like, what? Whoa, I've changed. What's going on with me? And we're like, shouldn't you know? That's stuff like that's always fun. And obviously I think they have some pretty fun themes and some really neat imagery with, kind of the final chocolate eruption crystallizing in like a cool way. But yeah, it was a neat time.
I teared up a little bit, but not too much.
I mean, I definitely like kind of like the moment of like solving the problem is it's not that, she just, summons Kitos to like eat it or anything. It's like, no, we have that moment of realization that like, oh, the things that have fallen into the underworld are chocolates that yearn to be delivered. And so the kind of reversal moment is like, well, actually, this isn't where you're supposed to go. Go be free. Go, look for the place you're supposed to go. That's cool. I like that. I like that imagery. But Valentines is Valentines. You said you fired off for all your ladies already. You just haven't collected them. Any cool standouts this year, Lucky?
TMS was super cute. I definitely want to say that one brought me joy. She's upset that apparently she learned that mother chocolates aren't what we actually want. I was like, no, give. Who has told you these lies? Yusho Setsu is quite funny. I did enjoy that one. So is Ushigozen's. Ushigozen's once again. Hold that thought.
Yep. All right. Okay. Sorry, I just did a little live editing to mute some of those phone noises, but you can still hear it in the bits where we're talking. Lucky got a phone call suddenly.
It happens.
It does happen. Where was he? You were talking about Ushigozen.
Ushigozen, yes. Like I've said it before, Ushigozen is, evil Raiko, but she's still Raiko, at the core of it all. So I was very happy about that. Anyone else? All the summers were great. Like I said, doing Ash, doing all the summer Tamlin. Those were all great in various ways. I just enjoyed them all in general. I don't think there's any particular one that just made me go, eh. Even like Summer Suzuka, who is very specifically, yes, you get a friendship chocolate. Was interesting. As she has a moment where she just thinks about, yeah, you're probably going to get a lot of problematic chocolate from people, and, like, a bunch of people pass through. Like, I can't remember everyone, but it was, like, Kyuhime, Serenity, Van Gogh, some other ones, just, problematic personages.
Yeah, no, Suzuka's real scoped in on that.
Yeah.
Kyuhime, I think, being the original, like, gag Valentines, because it's her in ribbon, which I've heard that you can reference in Kremhild's Valentine. It's a couple of years old, but yeah, it's a thing I think I saw some people talking about.
Yeah, Kali's was interesting, but I think it was the most interesting because she basically gives you a chocolate experience. It's like, yeah, you can use it to defeat an enemy, and no matter which version you go, it ends up being in a visualization, gets blasted by the spear of, and it's
of course.
So
trust no one, not even yourself, but especially when you're not even the same person.
No, it's so funny because she's so campy. She's all like in the simulation, Kali has Kama beyond like, yes, I'm going to. Oh god, what was it? What did she say? It was stupid and campy. She turned Kama into a cheap villain. It was somewhat hilarious. And you can just be like, man, I really feel bad for that Demon King right about now.
Shit, we need to add a new level to this meme.
We need that 2 more.
Well, I think it would be... Oh god, which Liz would it be, though? Would it be Elizabeth at the end pointing at herself, or Japan? Shit. Somebody posted the trust no one, not even yourself meme with Liz's, but it only goes up to 9 Dragon Ellie-chan. Yeah, all right. So there's your Valentine stuff. Go ahead if you've done them, Chad. Post some of your favorites in the comments, since people did not mail in about them. And usually this is a sequence we discuss a lot. All right. Anything else you want to say about the Valentine's event?
Not particularly, no.
All right. Short, sweet, to the point. Let's do New Servant Deets. Mother Edition. Mom's Chocolate Edition. Oh, sorry, adjusting my mic on. Sitting up. I've got to lean forward for this, gamer lean. But yes, Demeter is our first Olympus unit to be made playable, and now that we're in the post-game, we're really balling out. I think, people have noticed that the quote-unquote post-game servants are kind of crazy so far. But yeah, she is a Lancer now, not a caster. Again, we talked about with the Scythe, but I think it's a good thematic shift and also works for class and role. Not that, like, we probably couldn't use another caster to blow guys up, but there was a conversation had about how Old Man Cherry Blossom was, like, the first limited male 5-star caster in, like, a million years. So, it works. It's fine. Stats-wise, she's built pretty strong in the attack department, but she's not the lowest in HP either. Like, she has not above average, but she's got a pretty middle-of-the-road HP score and also has a really good attack score to level it all out. She's QQ, buh. 2 quicks, 2 arts, 1 buster. Good hits and slightly below average NP gain. Not that I think it's a huge problem, but she's like 0.42 on 5-hit quicks and 4-hit arts. So still pretty decent gain over there. Her NP is AoE arts, and yes, it is named after the move she uses to kill us in Olympus. At least the first stage is. It is AoE arts. It removes all defensive buffs. Not first, but does remove all defensive buffs. It inflicts defense down by 20% for 3 turns, and gives all enemies a 1 x 3 turns buff block, so you will not be getting those defensive buffs back. The overcharge effect is bonus damage versus Earth. Now, her enemy NP didn't actually do all that shit. That just reduced your max HP, which was one of the many things that was annoying about her boss fight. But the buff blocking is something that boss fight did, so it all thematically works out, I think. Bonus damage versus Earth is great, though. Means we have a solid farming niche, and then also blast enemies' defense is good. So first skill is Mother's Authority. It's literally the Authority of Abundance Mother Edition. This is a party-wide 10 to 20% arts and quick up for 3 turns. Removes the whole party's debuffs. Debuffs be gone. 1 time 3 turns debuff immunity. And a 3k to 5k max HP increase for 5 turns. This is also at least 1, possibly 2 of her boss skills crammed together. Yeah, 5k max HP for 5 turns. That's pretty crazy. Also, cures all your debuffs. That's great. Second skill is a targetable buff that gives an ally 1k to 3k guts 1 x 3 turns, a 1k to 2k heal per turn for 3 turns, and a 10 to 20% NP per turn for 3 turns, and also 500 to 1000 damage cut for 3 turns. Pretty sure that's 3 turns flat, not limited times. Yeah, nope, that's just 1000 damage cut for 3 turns. We are tanking. We are not dying. Especially because, once again, I remind you, this is targetable, so you can stick this on Demeter herself. Final skill is a 10 to 20% attack up for 3 for the whole party. That's right, it's a charisma. But it's also a further party-wide 20 to 30% damage up versus Earth attributes, and is her 30 to 50% battery. That's right. This is an arts AoE with, let me double check here, 4 hits, so multiple hits on Scream of Usis. With a 50% battery, she can also give herself 20% NP per turn if you feel like it. So that's pretty solid. But wait, Mother has more, because as you would expect from a divinity servant, she has a lot of passives. First of all, magic resistance EX. Just all the time, big debuff resist. She also has independent action A right to start, so her crits do extra damage. Also has territory creation B on top of that, so her arts cards are good. 8% extra good. Her unique divine core not only gives her the usual damage plus for divinity, 200 extra damage on all attacks, but also, just while she's on the field, the whole party permanently has 100 damage cut. They just take 100 less damage from all sources all the time. It's not a lot, but it can matter for certain fights, and it does mean that, for instance, her targeted damage cut is actually 1100 for 3 turns, and so on and so forth. She also always has 20% debuff success up. You will not escape the debuffs. And also, she is I can't wait to see what the translation is of this. The literal translation on the wiki is production manager. I really hope it is a pun and it's called production manager in the overlap. But it also means that she passively always heals 1k HP per turn. Always. At level 1, you are always healing 1000 per turn. That's crazy. Crazy good. So yeah, we've done a wonderful job of turning a boss kit into a playable unit kit, keeping her vibes, but changing her class. So this does mean, by the way, that if we do end up getting Aphrodite and or Zeus, they could be anything. Like, I kind of think that Aphrodite's assassin works, but I could also see them sticking her in, like, Berserker or something. Or maybe even move her to caster. Who knows? But like that's
Aphrodite was like a electronics countermeasure system, if
Yeah.
I remember correctly, right?
Yes, that was what her I forgot what we call their giant robot forms. They had a word for it. I don't remember it off the top of my head. It's been like 3 years. 4 years actually. Shit. But yeah, so she was countermeasures and like electronic warfare. So her, role in Olympus as like, mental interference causing enemies to destroy themselves, like worked as assassin, but could be several other wombo combos. Zeus as ruler, I think, still works, but they could do other things if they feel like it.
Mhm.
But yeah, could like I said, could free this up for anything. And like I said, Demeter is a powerhouse unit. They have, taken a boss fight that was pretty tough. What with her, buff blocking you on break bars, like she constantly debuff immunity to herself, and her NP, which like was Demeter was the boss fight that had very specific sequences of buffs she would activate every turn in sequence, which usually ended with her doing her NP pretty rapidly. That max HP down hurt a lot, so we don't quite get there, but we still got big teeth. Yeah, I hope they keep Zeus in there as well. That's right. I forgot to mention that. That's straight up called anti-ruler, but it's because it's it's her append skill. But yeah, Demeter is anti-ruler as her append, which is very funny. She's gonna get him. But yeah, so absolutely a phenomenal unit to have for farming, but also her NP always strips defensive buffs. That's pretty good. And despite like having the setup to be an offensive unit, crazy resistance, crazy resilience. It's not listed in her normal passives, and it is her listed as her third skill append. So I with the 20 to 30%. So I think it's just her append skill. And people data mining may have mischaracterized it or forgotten to add it in. Or maybe the NPC version has it turned on already. But yeah, no, I forgot to write it down normally because it's not in her normal list. I guess we'll check back here later to make sure the wiki's updated. Yeah, when you're doing like text file dumps, when people get the new servants and just grip it and rip it for the stats, you sometimes get them. But yeah, it's still very funny that's her append skill passive is anti-ruler damage. That just gives her more funny stuff to do. And also I want to say just really interesting stuff. We've got some great team comp going on. Unfortunately, the sprites listed on the site do not give me the ability to do like a side-by-side size comparison, but I think that her third sprite is actually physically bigger because it's more zoomed out. Her scythe is almost a full crescent moon, so like it, or even more almost a full moon circle, so like it certainly looks bigger. But I asked this question, chat, because another fun thing that Demeter does is she plays around with traits. So when you go to stage 3, she actually gets the Enuma Elish nullification. Like, she is no longer weak to Enuma Elish damage. Mm-hmm. She's also levitating, which a lot of servants at their third ascensions are. But she also becomes mechanical and super large. And this is actually relevant for weird trait interactions for, buffs, debuffs, and enemy types. But since it's specifically her third ascension and she doesn't switch, that means you get to play around with that and actually, like, pick which look you want to go for. So I think that's real neat. And if you want to ask, like I mentioned before that our previous entry in the episode that was titled Demeter's Fat Ass was in March of last year, or not last year, 4 years ago. Previously in March, that was our last episode that was on that. And I already said what it was going to be. This title is going to reference that again because it's a really good clickbait title, but also it's fucking true. But like, I think the reason why it took so long to pull off, even though people were like, these profiles for the Lost-Spelled Olympians like have stats like their servants, I think it took so long to pull off just because like the FGO story has, I think, been roughly planned out since somewhere in the part 2 stage. Like, it took them a little longer to get it all done than they maybe planned. Like, I don't know if I don't know necessarily, like, I'm trying to remember from the interviews Nasu did about the 10th anniversary, like, I don't know if they originally planned the audio calls to be like they are now, like they are actual story chapter drops, or if that was just, well, we've got these interesting story beats we want to hit before we do the big finale, let's do this audio call thing kind of a thing, right? But it seems like the team has known where they want FGO to go for a number of years at this point. The end of Olympus was supposed to be kind of the end of the first half of part 2. And I think that kind of works out with the time, the years-wise. But we're looking for gaps in the schedule. Now that we are in the quote-unquote post-game, the main story is finished, but we have, a few more things to cover, a few things to get out there. This seems like a great time to include these units and kind of not really futz about, where they're cropping up in relation to the previous story. Now they can just kind of crop up in the aftertime.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody got a screen grab. So she's not necessarily any taller than anybody else. But I do believe that because her NP changes, we may actually, utilize her giant robot form. Not that her default isn't. I also think her default NP is pretty neat. Reminds me a lot of a certain raid in Final Fantasy XIV for absolutely no reason at all. Do you think anybody on the Segal team played Endwalker?
Probably.
We take this.
We do take this.
But yeah, so it just seems like this is a really good time for it to come out. We have so many characters in NPC jail that I don't know if the FGO writers are writing to, release from NPC jail, as it were. But this does kind of seem like the time and place for it. We got Hebi Nyobo, we got Demeter. While he wasn't specifically asked for, the Cherry Blossom Woodcutter man, Haru is that is a male offensive caster, fulfilling a limited unit slot that has not been fulfilled in years. So it seems like they're kind of being okay, so, everything we're doing with FGO now is gravy, so we can get out there. So, I do hope, obviously, that we get Aphrodite, because that's a Wad Arco design that's, we don't have. I know Wad Arco be down to draw more. Actually, just double check. Did Wad Arco draw the point CE? It's like the Triple Heroines one. You've got, all the characters together. So, there's some neato things we can do. And I guess we'll continue to see. It is funny, obviously, that they went Demeter over Aphrodite for Valentines, but, maybe around Mother's Day we'll get an Aphrodite event.
That'd be hilarious.
I mean, it's still, this is the thing that people don't think about a lot, but in proper human history, anyway, Aphrodite also has quite a few important kids. Presumably, she's related to a few of the children of Ares, obviously, and then, of course, there's Eros and Anteros, who were a part of some of our previous shenanigans. And even, Caesar himself is supposed to be descended from Venus. So there's stuff we could do there. Actually, shit, sorry, and I'm just thinking, that'd be... Give me a cool Rome tie-in event. Can we get slim, cool Caesar? and Aphrodite? That seems like a perfect team up. Though I will say, if we're talking about wish listing, I'm still confident in my Lisan Al-Gaibing of, my Muad'Dib of seeing the all timelines and predicting Strange Fake collab, and having fully caught up to Strange Fake as it was publicly released. We didn't talk about this earlier, but Crunchyroll did accidentally leak all of episode 7 to YouTube. Whoops. They took it back, but some people may have seen it early. I'm not that caught up, but I'm caught up through the episodes that are posted, which are really sick. I'm quite happy to. It's so neat to think about, but both of I didn't realize it at the time because it had been a while since I'd watched everything, but both of Richard's NP themes are from Sawano's score for the anime.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. His normal, non-lion NP theme is the electric guitar version, which actually played in the most recent Strange Fake episode when, Richard was doing some stuff. And then the Lionheart mode is just the orchestral version of that theme, which came up later. So, it's just they hit his leitmotif in there, which is great. I love when they do that.
That means they've had that leitmotif for, years now.
I mean, not surprised, because, the episode 1 was, New Year's 2 years ago? 1 year ago? When was it? Was it 25? January 1st, 25 technically was episode 1? And the episode 0 was, 2023, I think, was when it got released, but that was obviously didn't actually have Richard involved in it. But yeah, they've been working on this. Early release in October, that's right. That was really early, yeah. So it was 24. So yeah, it was 2 years ago now. So I'm sure that means that they had to have had some of that stuff in the back from Sawano. So yeah, no, they've had it going on for quite a while. But yes, that aside, that makes me really hoping for a Strange Fate collab, because man, you don't see a lot of Melte, but I can't imagine her animations in FGO not being super cool, her mixing the bow, the spear, the horse, and all that stuff. Also, R.I.P. my boy, regular Heracles, non-Berserker Heracles. You were pretty cool for like 5 minutes before you got gooped on.
Again.
Where we've got some vibs, but no, like Strange Fake is super cool, and I wonder if we're gonna roll into a second core right after or not, because there's a lot of really really interesting stuff going on. I know that Watchers, like shadows, I think they call them, like have always been a point of major interest, you know, because they are described in the light novel.
Yeah.
Because you've got very obviously Captain Ahab.
Yeah.
And a couple of other characters I don't recognize. A lot of people have tagged that, you know, very steampunk-looking woman as Amelia Earhart.
That's what I thought, too.
Which would be pretty sick. So, I don't know. I believe I don't think the final light novel volume is out yet, but I believe it's been announced that they are planning on ending the light novel this year.
Yeah, I think they said only have like 1 or 2 more left. I believe someone said that. Also, I'm pretty sure the guy with like the wing like around his chest is Icarus.
That would be a pretty good one. Like definitely an appropriate heroic figure.
Like, I'm wondering if these guys are creatures that have like challenged something and failed or something.
Ooh, that would be kind of an interesting one, yeah. Because like Ahab gets eaten by the whale, Amelia Earhart, you know, famously vanished.
Yeah, Icarus, you know, fell challenged the sun and fell. I'm not sure about like the other 3. I've heard some people like speculate, and there might be some names there, but I don't like necessarily get it. But no, like if we just go with like Ahab, Icarus, and Amelia Earhart, actually they all failed. They all failed and fell into the ocean. Now that I think about it.
Well, at least the image they use for Watcher is a giant
whale. Yeah.
Yeah, ephemeral whale, a ghost whale with a spear in its mouth. Also, I kind of remember that was supposed to be the plot point with the quote unquote Lancer slot, but it is pretty metal to be like, at the end of this, you will be Lancer. I'd just be like, what? Huh? I don't get it.
Why are things so weird?
You know, our boy Sigma out here being like, I don't understand. Also, yes, by the way, if you didn't know, Sigma, canonically Maya's child, her son, she talked about him in Zero. He's alive. Wow. He's only small because he's apparently been through extensive modification to be a child soldier. He has basically the same backstory as fucking Raiden from Metal Gear Solid. But yeah, no, not just, like, the light novels are this way too, but I feel like the anime especially is made to just be full of sick continuity porn. Like, there's a moment in, I think, yeah, it was the latest episode, because that was Richard's Excalibur, but he was, like, at some point, I think it's Dumas talking about, like, oh yeah, he's such a knight of the round freak, he said everything was Excalibur, talking about, like, what's going on here, and it's like, he once talked about the Knight of the Lake, a knight does not die with empty hands, and they show fucking short hair Lancelot, and I'm just like, oh, it's a show designed to make you pog, but if you don't know what the fuck is going on, you just like, I don't know what's going on. But you probably want to know more. It's really sick. Well, let's see the next episode tomorrow's.
It's exciting.
Yeah. But that little over an hour. That wraps up the Caldeus Free Talkus for now.
Free Talkus.
Hope you enjoyed Demeter time and a little bit of the Strange Fake hour. Yeah, I'm seeing this. I'm definitely like, that definitely makes me go, The one saying Orion, though, is just like, the moment they said that, I was just like, oh shit, yeah, that is that voice actor. It's supposed to be non-super Orion? That could work. That guy got poisoned by a scorpion. But obviously also those, even in the anime, the designs they suggest for some characters don't match up with designs we have in FGO exactly, so it's like, could be, alternate timeline shit.
Yeah.
I do think your idea, Lucky, of catching on that most of the people we can cleanly identify are like people who've like challenged something and failed, possibly even like almost became Voyager of the Storm, but did not acquire the Light of Possibilities. Not Voyager of the Storm. What's Da Vinci in those skill? The like, it's the one that gives you the star attribute.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact translation name. Skill names are crazy. I said Light of Possibilities. That's Napoleon's thing. Oh, actually, also Voyager of the Stars. Yes, it is a Voyager. Kind of alter the course of human history. I think you're right. That is the name. That does also remind me, before we move on from fully into what's up, actually one final note about Demeter. I mentioned that she gets some different traits in her ascensions. She also does switch attributes. Her first 2 ascensions are Heaven, naturally, but her third is Star, which is why she gets a new Elish nullification. I think everybody who has Star automatically gets it, except maybe like some alternative servants. Anyway, Strange Fake is super fun. If you're not watching it, you should fucking watch it. Let's do What's Up.
What's up?
We said we'd talk about it more later, so do we want to start right at the top of where I kept my notes with the state of play?
Yeah.
All right. Sony had a state of play just yesterday as of the time we're recording, a couple of days ago now on a Thursday. They did set the hype levels pretty high when they said it would be over 60 minutes, 60-plus minutes. But I think they did pay it off pretty good. It was probably, one of their better state of plays, if not the best in a while. Like, I feel like there weren't really any, like, big dips. Like, they had pretty good pacing. Nothing really seemed to drag. Also, hold on, chat. This is me making sure the tab is muted and grabbing the video so I can scroll through it. But, like, they started strong. They ended pretty strong. Obviously, we should say at the top that for us, it was a little bit of a disappointment not to hear anything out of Square Enix.
Yeah.
Obviously, I made the joke earlier about, like, people were putting on their Kingdom Hearts-themed clown makeup for, Friday the 13th at 7 a.m., 7 Lights, 13 Darknesses, and shit like that. That's still, like, that I personally am still in the, like, you are absolutely on copium if you think there's going to be any KH4 news until the last 7 comes out, 7 the 3rd. That just, like, there's no way that Nomura has had enough time to work on something worth showing while busy with 7-3. Like, I just don't think that the time is there, But also, it did kind of seem like there might be an opportunity for the announcement of the third Rebirth or the third remake game, 7-3, because whatchamacallit? Because the whole franchise went on sale before the they announced that they're doing rebuff. I don't find the thing that funny. I don't know why you need to get me on this. Sorry. So people are posting some Twitter things. As always, I posted Sephiroth and clown makeup to make fun of myself because I thought Square Enix would be at there, but like I don't see a need to get upset about it. Like I said, Lucky and I were both a little disappointed by it, but it does make logical sense. Square Enix has been saying since at least last year, possibly 2 years now, like they are really moving away from exclusivity.
Yeah.
Like it is genuinely they are moving their their design philosophy so far that like there are rumors, there are a supposition that the third remake game will be multi-plat from day one. Like Square has straight up confirmed that the third title will also be coming to Switch 2 and presumably, Xbox and PC as well. I think they already floated that one. But like they are changing their strategy to include multi-platform. So there's different vibes going on there. It felt like it would be a good time for an announcement, especially like the way they kind of talked about like the Konami announcement about like old school partners and stuff. That said, I personally am now pretty solid that we're gonna see Remake the Third at Summer Games Fest. I'm pretty sure Jeff Keighley got to break some news on previous games, and Summer Games Fest is starts 2 days after the Switch 2 version of Rebirth hits. Also the Xbox version of Rebirth, but who cares, lol? Lost the console war. So that just seems like timeline-wise that really fits, right? Big ass stage, multi-platform announcement possibly. As usual, there was lots of Bloodborne-ium. I also had a joking tweet about that of just I think we just need to send all Bloodborne posters, all Bloodborne Hopium posters straight to the Nightmare Dream Dimension. We gotta just chuck them into the sea, bury them at Devil's Reef. It's not gonna happen. You're cursed. Not to say that it couldn't happen, obviously. Like I said, Konami's fucking unchaining Metal Gear Solid 4 from the PS3. I just think the main thing is that that's not up to Sony. I know they funded the game and they control the IP. I don't think they're actually the ones holding back a Bloodborne PC. I still think
trying to get everything of theirs onto the fucking PC market so they get more money.
Yeah, they can double dip. That's even Sony as a macro corporation's approach to other things. I know that there was a little bit of drama and shareholder discussion about K-pop Demon Hunters, right? That was originally pitched to Sony Studios Animation, but they didn't put it out in theaters originally. They sold it off to Netflix. And some people were like, oh, did we lose money on that in terms of share stake? No, Sony still made the bulk of the money on that. They gave a licensed cut to Netflix for being the platform, but they still, make a big share of that. Sony is also, I think, reaching a point where they're realizing that they don't need to be afraid to have a broader market reach. They can still sell PS5s and, sell accessories and also court other markets. So, I don't think they would object this many years later after literally giving you Bloodborne for free. It's like the joke about Uno. Everybody got Bloodborne for free. It came free with your PS5. Not actually true anymore, because they did eventually stop the, PS4 Essentials deal. But for a long time, it was like, if you had PS Plus and you had a PS5, you had a whole shitload of free PS4 classics you could download. Bloodborne was one of them. So,
I know I got it at some point.
Yeah, I don't think you can redeem that deal anymore, but if you did previously redeem it, you've still got it, which is how I'm pretty sure I've got Bloodborne on that currently. I might also have it on a disc. I don't remember, actually. And I'm pretty sure the method by which you've played Bloodborne, but it's been so many years that I think Sony, if they really wanted to, would just release it. It's just that I assume that they don't want to just do a simple Steam port, because that kind of, it's not nothing, obviously, if you're a big Bloodborne fan, but it is kind of nothing in terms of release fanfare for them. It's just yeah, we put it on PC. Woo.
Woo.
There's no marketing opportunity in that. So probably they would want to do make sure to do an update for I don't know, to talk slightly out of sequence about the Death Stranding 2 PC announcement coming March. Uncapped frame rates and ultra wide support and shit like that. If you own a really high end PC, they're gonna let you do some crazy bullshit with Death Stranding 2. Deserved, real. It's a very beautiful game. But I said, I think that's what Sony would want to go for, right? Is they would want to put a little extra polish on a new port because it's been so many years, and I think they would want to talk to FromSoft for that. So FromSoft is busy; they're busy making money other ways. But yeah, overall though, the state of play was crazy good for a lot of reasons. Like I said, we were a little personally let down by no Final Fantasy, but we'll get our fix. They'll get us. So we start with a fun surprise. Kena Bridge of Spirits sequel.
Big sequel, it looks like, too.
Yes. Not calling it Kena 2. Makes me wonder if they're going to do the whole, you don't have to play the first one kind of thing. I did remember seeing some people joke about the third 7 remake game about, whether or not Square is going to try and tell you that you don't need to play the previous 2. Because they tried that marketing with Rebirth, and I don't think it worked. But yeah, Kena's getting a sequel, Scars of Cosmora. And they showed some gameplay, and they showed, obviously, some cutscenes. And it looks like I said, a big sequel. They've got bigger areas. Kena is physically bigger. It looks like, it's a couple years later.
Yeah.
You can ride on a mount, which looks to be some sort of fox spirit. All their textures and stuff look a lot more polished. Their environments look a lot bigger. Ooh, I'm watching this trailer again. I'm watching it in the playback, and it's they've got some very solid, dynamic lighting, god rays and shit like that.
Oh yeah, no. It's Kena Bridge of Spirits looked amazing for what it was, but it was a very much, a PS2 platformer in a kind of a way. But now they definitely seem to have opened up what they're doing in this game.
Yeah, they've been in the tank for about 5 years, I want to say, 4 or 5 years. So
God, me just being all what year is it?
Yeah, I know. Was Kena pre-COVID? No, it couldn't be. That can't be right. That's crazy talk. But no, it looks like they're doing the great sequel thing, and it's a thing that I hear a lot of other gamers and game philosophers talking about, but I also agree with. It's always great to see a sequel because a development team gets to take a second crack at something and expand. Also, I do want to point out straight up that Kena announcement, Scars of Cosmora, not only says that it's coming to PS5, but they also straight up say it's coming to PC, right out the gate, to talk about how Sony's business practices have changed. So, the trailer looks real good. They've got a lot of stuff out there. They're keeping with their Unreal Engine, but they're polishing their tools, and they're doing some crazy good effects. Definitely one I'm going to keep an eye on. I did overall like Kena Bridge of Spirits, even if, it had some old school, fight design that was just kind of you better get good, nerd. You better hit your timing right, otherwise I'm going to fucking kill you. Which is, frustrating in the moment, but it doesn't leave me too heated, years later kind of a thing. I'm not mad about it now. There's sometimes in video games where I could still be upset about things, but Kena had some rough in the moment, but it was a pretty solid video game, so we'll keep an eye on that one. looks like they've got some, some more enemy variety, and it'll be interesting to see, like, what kind of new subsystems they do. And like I said, these environments are, like, so good. Like, big, deep environments, like the map goes back a ways looking stuff. Obviously, because you've got to ride on a fox mount now, so you need some space. And that will be coming out this year, 26. No month yet, no quarter, but sometime this year. Next was the Legends mode for Ghost of Yote, the 4-player, up to 4-player multiplayer co-op mode. I mean, it looks slick. I do like that they kind of like they talk about it in the trailer about the demonic Yote 6, like fully mythologizing the Yote 6 to be a lot spookier.
Spooky.
The Oni is now a literal Oni who's like 12 feet tall type shit. Working in a lot more supernatural and mystical environments, it looks like, with like, spooky fires and like crazy coloring and lighting and like kintsugi like trails through the earth and stuff. It's interesting. I think that's going to be a free.
Yes, free for owners.
Yes, if you already have Ghosts of Yote, it's a free DLC, March 10th, and it might be a standalone purchase if you're just interested in that. So I never got around to checking out the previous Legends, so we might take a look at that one. They say there's going to be like 4 playable classes, so you got like different combinations of weapons and abilities. But also shocking, nobody, because Kojima was talking about it. Death Stranding 2 on PC. I wonder if maybe we can win some more awards now. I don't know. I don't actually know how that's gonna be in contention, but no, they've added a whole bunch of new features, like I said, like ultra wide screen if you have a huge monitor, frame generation and upscaling shit, uncapped frame rates and stuff like that. Like, just if you have a big shiny PC, you can activate biggest shiniest mode. March 19th. Yeah, and that probably means there'll be a few updates. I did joke about how I'd love to. I'm like, they used the Higgs version of BB's song, and I'm just like, can I have that, Mr. Kojima?
Please.
It's hard to say that that's the coolest version of the song, because you know why. Good God, good God. Like that's also pretty cool, but that's definitely a cutscene. That's not like a static thing that I could just put on my music player. Then we got a pretty decent look at 4-Loop that was shown, I think, for the first time at the Game Awards.
I believe so.
But it's Bad Robot and another production company. But it is another one of Sony still trying to break into that multiplayer space. It is a 4-man co-op shooter, it looks like, third-person shooter. But their big thing is that it is a roguelike. And I think I can say roguelike because it looks like they've got, a proper progression map with procedurally generated zones or missions. But does look like, in between, possibly in between missions, but also at very least in between runs, you'll have a hub world and you'll be able to access, possibly permanent upgrades and progression and stuff. Looks like there's a fun variety of whatchamacallit, enemies, weapons, tech and stuff. You can get a bunch of different perks and things, pick your rewards for success, buy jetpacks. They showed off some weird stuff, like they said that, like, because of like all the time-space stuff going on, there's like, oh, check out these blink berries. These randomly teleport somewhere on the map, whoever they touch.
I did love that they just showed an image of throwing it and just some giant monster just going whoop. It's just like, oh.
Yeah, no, thinking smart. Like, this is another one that could be neat. Like, honestly, obviously, you got to be careful with when you're going full roguelike of, like, is the progression stuff too annoying to do? But having a proper, like, permanent overall meta progression is pretty good. I think it's pretty important. I'm going to circle back to this concept when I talk about Highguard possibly exploding. But, like, that's always good to see. And I will say that, like, that is kind of the thing I kind of feel like was not missing from Helldivers, but it's something that made parts of Helldivers game design frustrating, where, like, Helldivers is supposed to be kind of like a beer and pretzels co-op shooter with your friends, friendly fire is always on. You can kill yourself, your friends, and the enemies in a variety of incredibly stupid ways. But because it is like a game where, like, you can fail and that will affect, the greater narrative of the galactic war, but it also means, like, you drop your samples and shit and like, you can job out on stuff, that, like, it did mean that, like, certain forms of gameplay interaction were very frustrating. Enemies that are, like, too hard to kill and kill you too easily don't feel fun. objectives that are in weird places to complete, makes you feel like you're not getting anywhere, right?
Right.
So, like, hopefully For Loop can avoid that by very explicitly being a little more roguelike leaning and just being like, well, obviously it's going to be annoying if you go fucking 10 missions deep in a run and you guys, get blasted out before finishing, but can make some of those, like, failures less frustrating, hopefully. And so I'll keep a look at it. I feel like, based on the way Sony specifically has been doing their multiplayer stuff, let me see, we got a date on this? No, I think it's just time and a place. Coming to PS5 and PC also, probably with crossplay, hopefully. Just so people don't yell about it anymore. But knowing them, like, this feels like a thing that's gonna, like, have hopefully either a server test or a beta or some other options going on around to check out, because it feels like that's kind of important these days.
I definitely think so.
Next time we got a little mini Capcom segment. We got a new trailer for Pragmata.
I am very excited for that.
Yeah, looking pretty good, and it was a fun demo. Demo's available now on PS5. They made sure to talk about it. They showed off some more systems and environments, and it looks, looking pretty good. And I think we got the... I'm pretty sure they already... Yeah, April 24th sounds about right already. Like I knew that already. So, just a new trailer. The big one, obviously, was we had a pretty decent length trailer for Resident Evil Requiem, RE9. Leaning a lot more into what's going on with Leon. Discovering kind of like what's up with like this concept of like, honestly, again, talking about, like world building and decisions and stuff, making a lot of sense. Apparently there is what they call Raccoon City syndrome, where, survivors of Raccoon City who were exposed to latent T virus are showing, late onset symptoms, which do kill you.
Yeah.
Starts the activated phase by showing you with black lesions. And that's why Leon's wearing gloves, because he's ill. But they also showed off some gameplay stuff. Looks like you're going to be able to access both third and first-person modes, kind of like what they ended up eventually doing with RE8. Showcasing different gameplay stuff. Did show us some returning characters. There's a cutscene where she's talking to Leon, where Sherry Birkin's back.
Yeah.
And honestly, just all in all, they've got some really cool stuff. People have pointed out in the trailer that, first of all, in the opening shot of the trailer, Leon drives by that same gas station. His Jeep is still there.
Oh, God. It was such a good moment.
No, it's really good. And then, obviously, the big finish of the trailer is he pushes open the doors, and it's the fucking bombed-out police station. And it's just like, no, that's pretty sick. Like, the vibes for this are like, very strong. So, looking pretty good. That's pretty soon. That's the end of this month. Though, honestly, I don't... It's weird, because, like, other than 6, which we're working on streaming right now, if the servers will stop fighting us, busted as a video game, if the servers will, we're trying to work on that one. So, like, I know that, like, Leon hasn't been directly in the story since 6, barring maybe some side games, which may or may not have been set after it. So it's like, I don't know if it's essential, but at the same time, it does feel a little weird for, like, if I was gonna jump straight to 9 and be like, I still haven't, I'm pretty familiar with 7, but I don't know much about how 8 went, so we'll still see. But that one's going to be coming out soon, and I'm sure it's going to be a great video game.
A vidgeous-ass video game.
I mean, they showed it in the trailer. Leon's going to throw hatchets at guys. That's pretty video game right there.
Very video game.
I don't throw fire axes in my daily life. Next, they talk about some of the remasters they're doing. So we're getting Legacy of Kain Defiance remastered, which is actually like, it is a remaster, but does include quality of life. They're adding maps, letting you kind of like switch between graphics, adding like character skins and stuff. Shitloads of behind the scenes stuff. Comics, extra footage, including a like demo of the next game that never came out kind of a thing. There's a couple of titles like this in the state of play. I think this is a really cool way to handle remasters, to not just HDify the game, but also like, make it a little easier to play, and also to include the kind of, like, bonus features that you're not going to find anymore,
Yeah.
Like, that's a really neat method of, like, preserving the game. Let's see. Yeah, that's right. This one was a little odd, because I hadn't heard of this franchise before, but from Happynet Corporation, Brigandine Abyss. Apparently, Brigandine is a series of tactical RPGs that I don't recall hearing about. But they're making another one. They're making a new one. It's got hexes and deep strategic gameplay with over 100 classes. and pretty normal anime art style. Says at least it's coming to PS5 this year sometime. I'm not averse to strategy video games, but I still need to finish Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalice Chronicles, so I don't need to go ham just yet.
Just yet.
You never know. There can always be fun titles to catch up, and I do kind of feel like Brigandine Abyss didn't feel like a $70 game, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it feels like it's solidly in the AA type stage, and it's like, that could be alright. We could do, 50 or 60 maybe. We'll see. Probably 50 would be, the cap. Depending on how big it is. Like, they did say they have a lot of, story arcs and stuff, but I also don't know what's up exactly. Funnily enough, speaking of price point, their next kind of, third-party check-in got a little bit of Dead or Alive news.
Yeah!
First up, Dead or Alive 6 Last Round. The
last round again.
Allegedly final version of Dead or Alive 6, which was a late last gen, early this gen title. So they're gonna bundle all the characters and costumes and stuff they had as DLC. They did say that they will probably release some new characters and skins for last round version, which is a little interesting. But it is supposed to be kind of your final updated version coming out June 25th. The thing I thought was really interesting, especially in terms of fighting games, they're gonna have a free to play version.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have a trial version basically at launch for you to check out, which is neat. And then because it is Dead or Alive's 30th anniversary, it was a super early teaser, but they did have a teaser trailer to basically say that they didn't call it Dead or Alive 7, but Dead or Alive 7 is in development. They did 6-7 us, thank you. No notes at this time. They're looking pretty current gen with their teaser graphics, but it's still early. They're just we're working on a Dead or Alive. It's yeah, okay, cool. Got some sick-ass gameplay trailer for Control Resonant.
Oh, yeah. They're doing some stuff.
Yes. Another great, that was a great teaser trailer at Game Awards, and then getting the actual gameplay, basically just a month later here. 2 full months? Yeah, actually, Game Awards was early December, so it's 2 months now. But no, actually getting gameplay is cool. At the time, people made jokes about, we have an Inception video game, because that's definitely what the kind of, resonating Manhattan looks like. Everyone's all folded weird, but it's a really good look. And they said specifically in this gameplay walkthrough that this is early in the game after you have unlocked an ability called Shift, which lets you actually literally shift your kind of plane of footing, your plane of perspective. So when roofs and walls are perpendicular to you, you can just be like, yeah, I can walk on that. And yeah, I'm watching the footage again right now, and it's God, it looks good. I talked a little bit more about Dylan's weapon, the Aberrant, which can go through a bunch of different melee combat forms, including brutal takedowns, big hammer, spear, other stuff. You can also kind of control float like you could in the previous game. They showed off a few different enemy types. They had kind of a sizzle reel trailer, which showed some very interesting looking environments and enemies. Sorry, some of those gloopy guys in this trailer look a little more familiar now that I think about it. They're a little gloop mode like Firebreak. Also, by the way, I believe that Resonant takes place about 5 years after the original Control, so they do leave themselves plenty of room to do more story stuff with Firebreak. It'll be interesting to see if they will backfill more that way. And then they end with kind of showing you a boss, which is a horrible laser space whale.
Oh, what's with space whales? It's always space whales!
I'm just imagining Kojima's just sitting with Sam Lake, and he's like, for your next Control video game, you should have more whales. Sam sips his coffee, and he's just like, that's a great idea, Mr. Kojima. But yeah, no, Control Resonant looking great. That is... Did you guys do a date for that, right? Pretty sure.
You can have a giant space bird.
We might have some giant space birds. There was a weird lava guy earlier in the trailer.
You can have a giant space insect? Where's my Mothra representation?
Giant space bird from another. Well, put that joke in your pocket. We can bring that one back up later. Coming 26 wishlist now. No date on Control Resonant. Okay. Next was a really weird one. Kind of came out of nowhere, but, again, showing off maybe some multiplayer stuff. Crimson Moon. That was the game we were making the Happy Souls jokes about.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still don't know from this trailer exactly what the genre is. Is it just a co-op hack and slash, or is it actually gonna be a roguelike or roguelite, kind of in a Souls area? But it looks kind of like it's got aesthetics, kind of a mix between a straight up Dark Souls and a little bit like what Doom Dark Ages was doing. You've got big plate mail boys. It looks to be at least two-player co-op. Let me actually see if I can get some more info on it by Googling it. A gothic action-adventure RPG. Coming 26. You are Nephilim. It looks like it's kind of mission-based.
Interesting.
Not seeing explicit like roguelike or no keywords that are Souls based. You go from your sanctum, you have a home base and central hub. You go to the war table, you prepare your build, forge new armor, pick your mission, go in. There will be new quests because there is a story. Because the idea is that you're Nephilim, you're trying to push back the legions of hell, and it's up to 2-person co-op. So that could be interesting. Being more like I said, being an action RPG. It's like I said, I think they're showing some Soulsborne roots, but it does not necessarily seem like they're going for like the exact Souls-like stuff. So that's one to keep an eyeball on again, because the trailer went out of their way to be like, look at these two broski knights,
bro knights of the bro.
I don't know if anybody's figured out yet whether or not the trailer music was done by like Mick Gordon, but again, it really is that kind of vibe. Like I said, like aping some notes from Doom as well. We got another trailer for Beast of Reincarnation, showing some more stings. That's interesting. That's the new game out of Game Freak.
They're freaks.
Which is going to be multi-plat. It's kind of, I saw some people joke about it. It's kind of funny that they also did this at the same time as the Kena announcement, but it's another kind of like character action platformy type game where you need to purify things.
Mm-hmm.
I think the action on Beast of Reincarnation looks a little, bigger and bolder. It didn't look like from the trailer you can air juggle anybody in Kena 2.
Nah.
But yeah, it's got an interesting thing. But you do have a big dog.
Big dog.
And they did make sure to showcase its dog shake technology. It's going to be August 4. Somebody in chat mentioned earlier, but speaking of, anniversaries, there's a lot of 30th anniversaries this year. We're getting a Rayman 30th anniversary edition out now, I think, actually. It was supposed to come out like a day after the State of Play. And it includes like 5 different versions of the game. It has a digital museum, so you can like go back through old stuff. You can check out like their prototype version of it. There's a interactive documentary with the original devs. Okay, yeah. So digital release February 13th, physical coming out in June. So they're doing both. That's neat. Digital now, physical later. And again, that's just like, I don't have any particular attachment to Rayman personally, but again, very cool to do this for like remasters, re-releases, and anniversaries to be like, hey, here's the video game. You can also get the video game, but more. And also, you can get the video game that wasn't a video game. And also, look at this extra material. Like, we've already spoiled Metal Gear Solid Master Collection 2, obviously. But, like, that's another thing, like, we were talking about, like, with the database and stuff. And, like, maybe they're adding, like, extra novels and text files. Is, like, it's cool to include the supplementary material when you're doing this. We love supplementary material. Some stuff on. Next was Mina the Hollower from the Shovel Knight devs. I don't know exactly what era or genre you would say Shovel Knight was emulating, but whatever that was, Mina the Hollower is for like exactly Legend of Zelda on the Game Boy.
Yeah, no, I think they specifically said, calling back to, mobile, old handheld titles.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty neat.
So that's pretty good. That one was originally supposed to come out last year, but it's been pushed. So it's going to come out spring this year. And exclusively on PS5, there is a demo that is available now. They said available tomorrow. It's available today. Haven't had a chance to look at it. I might check that out while this video is editing, maybe. But yeah, so that's still coming out soon. This is an interesting one because I don't think they actually... They did some PS Plus stuff, but they did not actually showcase it off. There's going to be a prequel to Neva, which was the Sad Girl and Wolf game. That came out a little while ago. That is actually going to be one of this month's PS Plus extra titles.
Yeah.
I've heard people say it's about a 4-hour game.
Oh, I might have to check it out then.
Yeah, like it's if not a single sitting, it's a pretty straightforward game. Like I'm pretty sure it's going to make you sad about that wolf, or maybe about the girl. Maybe the wolf lives and the girl dies. I don't know. But they're doing a prologue, which looks like they said is adding like new gameplay features, kind of explaining while the wolf is still young, raising it. That's going to come out the 19th of this month, which is like a couple days after the original comes out. So it kind of seems like they are doing like a wombo combo thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, check out our video game, buy the prologue now. So like that's a cool like marketing strat. And like I said, if it's a short game, then definitely like we can pop that PS Plus time in. Let's see, next was a very interesting one from some of the same devs who brought you Tenchu from Shueisha Games. Yak-O Shinobi Ops. And it kind of looks like a almost but not quite isometric, how did you phrase it? Like very pulled back third person.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I thought of it earlier, but I've just remembered it now. You might also call it the XCOM camera.
Yeah.
because it's like it's not fully isometricified, but it's that pulled back third person, tactical view, because this is supposed to be a tactical game. I don't know if it's turn based or real time. Like, I would guess probably real time based on what they're showing, but it's a tactical stealth game. The gameplay they show is you have a couple of different, like maybe 4-ish different ninjas you can pull out. They have different abilities. Like, one guy uses a hammer to break down a wall. Another one has grappling hook to shoot up, that kind of stuff. They have some like little noise lines and some light, vision cones and stuff. Mm-hmm. And at the end, they show off there's going to be some spooky yokai. So some supernatural stuff, but that's going to be interesting. That one you're going to have to wait a while for, though. That was a very early tease. That's coming out in 2027, but looks pretty good. That might be one to keep an eye on.
I always love ninjas.
Yeah, and I like intermittently. I like stealth gameplay, and I like tactical games, and definitely like that's a kind of genre that's not unheard of, but is very rare to have those kind of like tactical stealth games. I know Metal Gear Solid is called tactical espionage action, but that's a very different style of tactical than people think about with gameplay tropes. Next was a very fun, a little perplexing trailer. This was for Project Windless, based on the novel The Bird That Drinks Tears.
I did a little bit of research. This was actually a very popular Korean high fantasy series that was from the early 2000s, which has been regarded as basically the Korean Lord of the Rings for its very extensive world building.
That's very interesting. All right. So, I mean, the game certainly feels like it has that vibe to it. They immediately go all in on the high fantasy juice.
Yeah.
But also, this shocked many people watching the trailer, myself included. The protagonist is a giant chicken.
Yeah, apparently
he is a roosterman.
It's from one of the major races in the world, called what was it, the Rakan or something?
I think they used that term in the trailer, yeah. But no, yeah. He's literally he's super buff. He's pretty cool looking, but he's a giant chicken man. And the gameplay style they showed off is definitely very Muso looking. They are claiming in the press release that it is a open world action RPG.
I can see it.
Like, honestly,
there's nothing. Good. Oh no, keep going, please.
I was just gonna say, honestly, thinking about it, like, I did joke that the gameplay style looked like if Santa Monica was doing a God of War title and they were less concerned with like narrative stuff and were more concerned with how many enemies they could fit on screen for you to hit.
Yeah.
So calling it an open world action RPG is like, no, that probably tracks. Yeah, no. Like, obviously, I always feel like whenever people say action RPG, I'm always like, it's like that fucking meme. Is this a Souls-like? Sir, it's a good game. Open it up. It's a Souls-like. This, I don't think they're going that way. I think actually they mean it when they say action RPG. With like, again, almost like, again, Muso-styled roots. Like, there are some big-looking fights in this trailer. Ooh, sorry, I just saw it. They did a real clean weapon swap. Like, he went from like the two swords to like the polearm. So it looks like there's going to be some big-ass battles they got going on, some big environments. They did say that, like, the press release talks about, like, we tried to make an open world with, like, the least amount of hand-holding possible. Kind of like you do whatever you like sort of a thing. You delve into the hidden story, you do a massive battle, you explore, whatever. That said, if the series, like the novel series it's based on, had, like, really big, deep world building, that could work.
No, like, I'm interested in this because apparently, like, the series was pretty fucking popular. I do believe, like, it broke some records in its time. So, if, like, I'm curious about this game because, maybe it'll make me go, like, check out what the original series is about.
Yeah, you never know. Let's see, any over PS5? Do we have a release window? No, it doesn't look like it. They're just announcing that it's happening. But still, could be pretty slick, could be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, honestly, the idea that it's like a like proper open world ended action RPG like could work with the kind of scope it looks like they're showing off in the gameplay. Obviously, we'll have to keep following trailers and press releases and see because they're talking about like in the press release on the PlayStation website, they're like, these crowds of hundreds of enemies aren't just meaningless noise. They're carefully manipulated by systems, and I'm like, I will believe that when I see it. Because like first of all, I've played Muso and Warriors type games. Like I know what they mean by like visual noise of guys. So like it could be nothing, could be something. We'll have to see. But yeah, it like I should say I made some jokes when we were in VC watching along about Heavenly Sword, right? That was my first PS3 title, by the way, guys. Like I actually played and beat Heavenly Sword back in the day, and I didn't hate that game. The 6-axis stuff was a little tough, and some of the boss fights were a little hard, but like no, like I'm okay with actiony type games, and I do like RPGs. And I was thinking to myself that like honestly, if the state of like Lord of the Rings licensing wasn't so weird, with like Netflix in their acquisition of Warner Brothers being like straight up like WB Games adds no value to this purported sale. That's just like damn, harsh, but probably true. But like that would actually be like a decent like the Shadows games kind of went that way, but they were also I think where like the combat style was a little more like Arkham like. But like. That would be a really interesting Lord of the Rings game to just be a open world RPG where you're like a ranger or something just fucking around in the in-between, not necessarily doing the fellowship quest, but like doing all the stuff that other people had to do so that we didn't get taken over by Sauron in the meantime. Like that's a pretty, big, well-documented setting you could rattle around in. After Project Windlist got a pretty slick trailer for Star Wars Galactic Racer, another one that was a big announcement at Game Awards, showcasing that you're going to have a protagonist who later press has revealed is going to be called Shade as your kind of, generic code name. Looking pretty dripped, by the way. Like, got a fucking, Lando shoulder cape, got a cool helmet, got some pouches. You love pouches.
I love pouches.
Really hoping, I tweeted about this, but really hoping for customizable space drip in the campaign.
Yes.
Like, they showed some racers with a couple of different colors out there, but they showed a variety of stuff. You've got, like, speeders, swoops, bikes, and pod racers at the end. Showed off a couple different maps, including what looks like, Jakku with all the crashed Star Destroyers and stuff. Apparently, a lot of the devs that got in are ex-Burnout guys. They got some guys working on Burnout games for this.
Ooh, that explains a lot, honestly, actually.
Yeah, no, I saw some people talking about it, like, yeah, the gameplay shows lots of crashing and smashing type stuff to wreck enemies, which is both very true to Star Wars racing, but also being from, guys who worked on Burnout makes a lot of sense. They showed a little,
Burnout was great for that.
Yeah. No, like, the gameplay really looks like that, like, the dynamic camera, the boosting, the smashing and crashing, the really crazy over-the-top crashes, which, again, is also true to Star Wars. We just watched Phantom Menace last week, and it's like, no, that pod racing scene... Still choice, like, still looks really good and is crazy over the top. But Sebulba kills, like, 4 guys himself. like, straight up. But they showed, like, some preview of, like, the campaign stuff they've going on. And they said later in pressers that it's going to be an in-depth campaign with multiple storylines, like, multiple plot lines that you can pick from. So there will be, like, choices and options. So, like... That's pretty cool for a racing game in the Star Wars universe to go down that route.
Oh, that's exciting.
And the trailer does end with yet another Glup Shido cameo. This time it's Ben Quadraneros. Lots of people pointed and smiled. It's very funny. Then they go straight into 007 First Light, which is, again, that's another one that I'm looking at tentatively. I think they delayed that one a little bit as well. But still May 27th. But I said watching the trailer footage that, like, the game really looks like they're doing a fusion of, like, Hitman with, like, being in disguise type stealth and then Uncharted.
Yeah.
Like, again, Uncharted's a great genre of video game to emulate because those are action-adventure games that are deliberately trying to look like an incredibly over-the-top action movie.
Yes.
So, like, if a 007 game wants to borrow from some, like, again, some very Uncharted-esque set pieces, I'm just watching the cut up boat hulks in the desert, right? That's literally Uncharted 3. There's like a plane, drop sequence and stuff, so like that's a good genre for this game to be emulating. God knows, yeah, there's some Nathan Drake ass takedowns in this, throwing guys over railings and stuff. But no, it looks pretty sick. Like I said, probably not a day one buy at this case. Like I'll see what we get out of like when reviews drop and when previews come.
No, this looks like it's going to be a great movie as a video game.
Yeah.
From what I'm seeing right now. And I'm kind of excited for that, but it's one of those things of like, I don't know if I got the time for that.
No, we're getting you obviously have already started with thankfully you managed to, Code Vein 2 is pretty manageable, but
Yeah.
We talked about that a lot last week, but like, the year already started. I myself have some targets coming up soon, several of which are shown off at this State of Play. So like, yeah, it's going to be a busy year, and like, I don't think there's any so far any hard and fast dates on the crazy like do or die type video games, right? Like, there's no release window on Insomniac's Wolverine game yet. Like, I'm trying to think about crazy game titles, and it's like there's some pretty good stuff coming out, but nothing that's gonna like break my bank that's locked in for sure. But there are some really good looking titles coming out in the front half of this year, and we're already starting to see with GTA 6 allegedly hitting in November. Rockstar's claiming they're still on track for that one. We'll see. But like we're getting some before GTA 6, but second half of the year type announcements. So like 007 is one of, like, depending on that video game, that would really scratch an itch for me, because like, again, it's been a while since there's been a new Uncharted, and it doesn't look like Naughty Dog is wanting to get back there anytime soon. They've tried to multitask and kind of failed at it. Like the alleged Uncharted multiplayer game has not emerged. I think it's been canceled like twice over at this point, because they tried to do it in-house and couldn't do it, and then they farmed it out to a second studio and they couldn't do it. So I think they're all in on like Intergalactic right now.
I would like some more information on that, though.
Yeah, that one I think is like, did they say 27 when they announced that? That might be 27. I think it might be a 2027 game. I think Sony's like, well, they are still churning out a few PlayStation Studio, first-party titles and stuff, showing off a few of them. But I think their big release so far this year is going to be Wolverine. I don't know if Sony gets to claim credit for Marathon, because while they did like enter into a partnership with Bungie, like reacquire them, I'm pretty sure Marathon was already in development by the time they did that. But this State of Play was like, they had plenty of PlayStation Studios titles, but they also were definitely about some lots of the third party stuff. How is it actually? Hold on, no, it's just coming 26. There's a lot of really cool looking games that are still like not release dated. Like, I was just tabbing back to look before the first late trailer to Galactic Racer and like, does that have a release date? No, just a window sometime this year. So like, that's gonna be like probably a pretty exciting one for me, but that's like, we don't know when that's hitting. So like I said, we do have a release date for First Light, but that's the one that I think I will wait to see reviews to like see if there's anybody like, the story sucks. They put all the good scenes in the trailers, kind of a thing. Oof. Not that a James Bond story is kind of hard to fuck up. Like, they're not really that complex. Bond films are much more about, can you get some cool action set pieces and can you get some one-liners in? Like Uncharted is meant to emulate like Indiana Jones movies, right? Obviously, but I do want to say that I think there's a little bit of Bond in Nathan Drake's DNA too. Certainly in the way that Nathan Drake delivers one-liners after he kills guys. But I'm interested to see how the game comes out, but I'm not like pre-sold on it.
Yeah.
So like we'll see. Maybe they'll have some demos. Maybe they'll have some features. They are doing like, if you pre-order it or get the digital deluxe, you get like 24 hours early. So there'll be some reviews and stuff I think coming out of it. But after First Light, so they did a pretty neat thing where they entered into the real life segment, showed off lead of their third party team, global third party portfolio team, and did that as kind of a prelude to talk up their partners. He even said that they'd have a list of them. Logo goes up on Konami, and I believe they showed off their studio for the first time. This the Tokyo Bay studio is like their brand new place they bought. When a couple years ago, Konami was like, "We're getting back into video games for realsies." So they
realsies.
Set up a new studio, staffed it back up to full and stuff. And people have discussed kind of like why Konami is in this kind of revolution. It's kind of multifold. The first one is that just in general, a lot of the classic third-party Japanese studios have been showing a resurgence. Like, Capcom was in a bad way in the Crapcom years, which we are technically experiencing in Resident Evil 6. But with RE7 and then continuing where they've been going, like, they've been really winning back the crowd, releasing some very solid titles and, like, getting some prestige and some support. And there's a few other businesses. Like, obviously, Square themselves have been in some rough patches up and down over the years, but like they do seem to be kicking down some doors with their third-party strategy, with their multi-plat strategy. Like Intergrade Remake was like crazy good sales on Switch 2. I bet Rebirth will. If Rebirth doesn't do numbers when it drops on Switch 2, again, 2 days later is Summer Games Fest. They're probably going to announce the third game. I bet it will do numbers then, if it doesn't do them before. People will be like, oh shit, a third one. But like, so these kinds of IPs have been resurgent. Also, hey, you know what you can't do during COVID lockdown? Play pachinko. So Konami's money stream has kind of like their previous money streams had kind of been drying up. Honestly, I don't talk about it a lot on this podcast, but tune in on Tuesdays to Fail Betrayal, where we get to talk about lots of Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. But Paper Yu-Gi-Oh has been in a weird way over the past couple of years. The general consensus is that the gameplay of the trading card game is pretty good right now. Pretty balanced sets, different archetypes coming out, different levels of power, good ban lists, better ban list news. The TCG has just launched an alternate format, which can be pretty interesting to decks if you're interested in Genesis format. That's their kind of point-buy format. Or, I guess, reverse point-buy. You do have 100 points to play with, but only, cards on the point list count. But, they've been struggling with selling product. Product has been going for, way under MSRP, which obviously hurts local game stores, which kind of hurts your overall customer base because the stores order from you and sell to the customer kind of a thing. I do kind of feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel has really stagnated at their 4th year anniversary. I'm still playing it because it's one of the best ways to get access to new decks for free, but it's definitely not been as great as they could have been. Though apparently they're making enough marketing money because right now they're running another cross-promo with HoloLive again, HoloLive English, and much bigger this time. It's teams. They've got 6 talents in it. And whatever interns at Konami are running this are for real. They have handed all the HoloLive talents real meta decks. I think Fuamoko's playing Yummy, or Okroni was on Yummy Mitsu, I think, or one of the Mitsurugi variants. Mori Calliope was playing Odeon Primite, also known as Man Primite, because the key card is called Man with a Mark. The real decks, real meta decks you can acquire in Master Duel right now are being set up for this. So it's... Yeah, they're doing marketing push still. So, all this to say that, Yu-Gi-Oh! Products have been really weird, but Konami has really been saving it there as well. They've done, for the first time, they've introduced overframe arts. So, you can probably picture what I mean when I say that, Lucky, but yeah, they are arts that break out of the original card frame.
Yeah, that's what my initial thought was.
Yeah. So, they are doing that not only in a promo set, but they are also doing overframe rarities in core sets. Because they've just announced they're working on a new core set. They are retraining the Magician of Black Chaos and Blackluster Soldier. And they're putting Yami, they're putting Atem back on the card packs. They didn't even do that. They're doing it. The next set, Origin of Chaos, will have him and the new Chaos Magician retrain on the cover. So, we are going big into the well for marketing. And I think that shows in their video game department as well. Because they had a suite of new announcements, starting, of course, obviously with the one we've already spoiled for you, but the one that, got Lucky and me super hype. Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2. The primary titles in this are Metal Gear Solid 4, which they had a hype-ass trailer playing the Metal Gear Saga music and all that stuff. But Metal Gear Solid 4 and Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops. Again, they have confirmed no Metal Gear Online, but Peace Walker is going to come with the co-op modes and the PvP modes. So you can play the entire Peace Walker game 2 to 4 man co-op. It's interesting. You talk about this, right? You've never played Peace Walker?
Nope.
At all?
At all.
So the kind of research tree mechanics and the kind of recruiting soldiers for your PMC mechanics that are in 5 were kind of beta tested in Peace Walker.
Oh, okay.
So you will do R&D on stuff. It's going to be really interesting to see, by the way, with both 4 and Peace Walker. Another reason why it took them so long to release this is both of those games very heavily feature licensed products. Obviously, Metal Gear Solid 3 had Calorie Mates, but there were Regain Energy Drink in Metal Gear Solid 4. I think it was... I know they did a Mountain Dew collab, but I think you can manufacture... In the 60s, by the way, in Costa Rica, you can manufacture Mother Base brand Doritos in Peace Walker. I think he actually got the Doritos collab.
I remember this joke.
So I don't know if that they've saved that licensing or not, but I kind of hope they do because it's funny as fuck. But Peace Walker actually does really interesting things with the co-op. There are unique gadgets you can develop in R&D that only work if you have 2-man co-op. You can get the fucking Crying Wolf railgun, but because it's the 60s, you need a second guy to carry the power pack. And you need to like fire the railgun, you have to fucking hand crank the power generator. So like that's a really interesting video game that I am super glad that they are bringing out there because like, and keeping the co-op stuff because it's super essential. I also really hope that they manage to keep all of their collabs because, Final Fantasy XIV is not the only one with a Monster Hunter collab. Big Boss can hunt Rathalos in the original Peace Walker, and it was in the HD collection version, the Legacy collection. So I really hope that stays.
I can't imagine losing the collab stuff.
I just imagine that, like, if you're Konami, you go to Capcom and be like, hey, we're going to re-release Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Can we keep Rathalos in? And just they're looking at their schedule, and they're like, literally just a week ago, they announced they're going to have their big X-Pack DLC for Wilds, and they're just like, yeah, we'll take that. We take those. Like, it's they're not, like, competing. It's just funny. So that's going to be a really cool game to check out. And like I said, 4 was not my first Metal Gear. I played Solid. I played the 2 demo that came with Zone of the Enders, and then I played 3, and I played 2 later. But like I played the shit out of 4 like multiple times. 4 is I think the Metal Gear game that I played the most because I played it all through the different difficulties. And also, speedrunning trick for you, chat. If you skip cutscenes you've already seen, you can complete Metal Gear Solid 4 in a fairly rapid time. The cutscenes really do add a lot of hours. But it's such a slick game, like with the Drebin system, the weapon customization is so peak in Metal Gear Solid 4. So are the special boss weapons, like, the fucking, I joke about the Crying Wolf railgun, also originally Fortune's railgun, but like that's so sick when you get access to that. Also, like, just I remember in my my runs to get the special achievements and rewards for just completing the game fast. Just you can fuck everybody's day up with the M82 Barrett. Like, if you don't care about alerts and killing people, you can ruin some guy's day.
Yeah.
Like, no. So that I'm so excited for that. And we will continue the Master Collection streaming and stream those games. And probably co-op all the way through Peace Walker.
Oh, definitely.
Lucky gets to be Big Boss, and I get to be, Flame Buffalo or like Stealth Sneak Crab or something, whatever dumb names we get. Because that, like I said, that's that joke from 5 originated in Peace Walker. We can even do a little bit of the, not quite the same, but we can do some of the mother base customization, and you can build your own AI Metal Gear weapons.
As long as we don't use nukes.
Yes, that's against the rules. But no, it's those are both a great time to see. And I've honestly never played Ghost Babel. That was on Game Boy Color, I think.
Yeah, it was a Game Boy title. I remember that much, man. It's gonna be weird. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's weird.
No,
it's a weird
that
game.
will be a weird time. Yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, so like that's super excited. That's coming out in late August. That will be like even more so than like me being interested in Master Collection 1. I'm like, okay, you freed Metal Gear Solid 4. That is a day one. I will be pre-ordering this game. I will be day one installing. Everybody is hoping they find a way to keep the fucking act install screens of Snake smoking.
I don't need it to actually be a loading screen. Just give me like a sleep mode where I can just have Snake smoking as it gives me tips. That's all I need.
Great, yeah. I mean, and like it can still be like the transition scene because you gotta click through it to confirm. I've also heard some people say that like they're hoping that like for PC and stuff they'll turn it into the like compiling shaders moment. You're kind of like checking your system. Like I hope we keep some of that stuff because just like that, it's obviously like so weird and so of its time, but it is so essential. Much
it
like
is.
People are already joking about like wondering if they can get Otacon's VA back to re-record the dialogue, because he's like, "Oh, Snake, you're on a PS3. We don't need memory cards."
No, that people don't understand. There were so many jokes in Metal Gear Solid 4. My favorite one, like you could have only done this if you basically got like Metal Gear like super fucking early, because the original PS3 did not have DualShock controllers. They did not have vibration systems in them. So there is a joke when you fight Psycho. Oh god, what was
Screaming Mantis.
Screaming Mantis, where she tries to do the Metal Gear Solid 1 trick where she makes the controller move, but it can't because there's no DualShock. Later,
What?
when they did have add DualShock back in, there was a moment where Psycho Mantis screams, "DualShock's back, baby!"
No,
in
it's
that moment.
so good. It's so
like,
great.
It's so good. Like,
no, I think, and they had that opportunity, I think, because they did a later patch to add back in trophies and stuff.
yeah.
So, like,
I think it was at that runtime, yeah.
Great stuff there. And Metal Gear, like, honestly, it's really funny, but, so, there's a lot of, like, meta commentary about, like, Metal Gear Solid 2 and, like, Kojima's opinions of sequels. Like, he felt forced to make Metal Gear Solid 2, so in a lot of ways, it's, like, it's about the fact that it's just the same video game again, you know? A lot of the meta context, I feel like, for Metal Gear Solid 4 is, first of all, it's Kojima dealing with, being older for the first time. Also, actually, I didn't know this, but I've heard people talk about it. Apparently, Metal Gear Solid 4 was in development when Kojima's father passed away.
Oh.
So, like, that's kind of, like, the first time he's kind of feeling his own mortality, and I feel like that definitely explains some vibes later. But, like, Metal Gear Solid 4 is about how franchises do need to end someday. Like, stories end, and you need to, like, pass on your knowledge to the next generation, which is a thing that Hideo Kojima is, I think, still about. But it is funny that, like, Metal Gear Solid 4 was not the last numbered Metal Gear. But also, Metal Gear Solid 5 continues to be a meta commentary about how, like, you guys keep asking him for sequels, and he's kind of like, I'll do it, but also, I'm gonna be weird. But yeah, no, Peace Walker and 4 are, like, phenomenal games. I will say it's interesting, I've already heard some people talking about it, like, overall, like, where does Metal Gear Solid 4 rate up amongst the games? And it's like, yeah, it's a video game that I agree with some people. I saw tweet this, like, you couldn't make it today because, like, people would be like, oh man, how long are these cutscenes? What's going on here?
I'm gonna be real, guys. I'm gonna be real. Even back when it first came out, people were like, why are these cutscenes so long? What's going on here?
No, like, that was a joke back in the day, was like, the final cutscene of Metal Gear Solid 4 is 2 hours long. It's literally a movie.
Yeah.
True. Also true. But, like, there's so much, like, franchise love in the game. Like, when you see a legacy character, you can mash X to get flashbacks to the last time you saw them. There's snake hidden camera angles. Oh, the Act 4 Easter eggs are, like, so cool.
Going back to Shadow Moses is, like, it's so great. And it ends in just the boss battle at the end.
That's a twofer, because, like, you get to finally fucking kill Vamp.
Yeah.
And then you climb in Metal Gear Solid Rex and have a fucking Metal Gear on Metal Gear battle.
And it's so good.
On the Shadow Moses ship dock. After, I think, either immediately after or immediately before Liquid Ocelot reveals Mount Snakemore, which is one of the craziest things he's ever done, which says a lot about Ocelot. No, like, it's peak, chat. It's actually peak. It's absolute cinema, and it is peak, and I cannot wait for more people to experience it. Especially because so many people were making jokes about, like, people being like, Old Snake, show up, play my game. Okay, Old Snake. Buy a PS3. No, Old Snake. And, like, yes, you can't, there are PS3 emulators out there, but depending on the software, you're, like, both the software of the emulator and the software of the game you're emulating using, they can be finicky. Like, the cell processor is so unique, it is still weird. The fact that they are putting this not just on PS5, but also on Steam, and on Switch, not just Switch 2, but Switch. Dark Wizardry. I really hope this is a future sign that we are cracking the case on some PS3 titles, because that would be pretty sick. Konami does have another game in development, though. We should gush about Metal Gear Solid for hours, and we will again, probably.
Probably. Just wait till we actually do Master Collection Volume 2.
Hey, listen, both of those games we will have plenty of time to talk about. Metal Gear Solid 4 has long-ass cutscenes, and Peace Walker is a mobile title mission-based game. So we will be doing some like downtime to unlock some fucking blueprints and shit, chat. Some of that we can probably do off stream, but like there will be moments where we will be, doing a lot of stuff because it was originally a PSP game. But Konami is working on their Darwin's Paradox game. I believe they are actually like publishing that or developing it. And they said they're going to have a playable demo, which will include a tribute to Snake. Yeah, which is like really cool. And they showed off some more gameplay. It's a cute little game. You're a weird little octopus doing weird little octopus things. It's a very video game, and I love that. It made me think
of Abe's Odyssey, funnily enough.
Yeah, it's kind of got that like it's 3D, but it's 2D mostly. It's from a 2D plane of action.
Yeah.
So like looking pretty good. Yeah, full release April 2, demo tomorrow. Okay, so that demo's also out. So I'll check that out too because that's going to be the Snake inspired one. But then they hit us with a double whammy, right? They start with Metal Gear Solid 4 is free. We do Darwin's Paradox as kind of a palate cleanser, and then they go, hey, by the way, 40 years of Castlevania. with working with their third-party partners, Evil Empire and Motion Twin. I didn't peg this because I haven't played it, but it makes perfect sense. The guys, the teams that have worked on Dead Cells, which had that very good Castlevania collab recently, like a couple years ago. So we're getting a new Castlevania. Castlevania Belmont's Curse. There were some concerns that some people are saying it's going to be roguelike. I don't think it will be. The press release uses very specifically, I forget what the translation is, but it uses the phrase that Japan uses to refer to Metroidvanias.
Ah, okay.
Like
I
action
very Metroidvania.
exploration, I think. So like we are going back to, it sounds like, to classic Metroidvania stuff. Looks stylish to get hell.
The 3D on 2D plane is always a good look, in my opinion.
Yeah. You've got the whip, so you're doing fucking whip swinging, you're doing like crash jumps and stuff. It's pretty cool. And we were confused about this, but the presser makes it, and the Steam page makes it clear. So this is Girl Belmont. It's been a long time.
Lady Belmont. Yep.
Yeah, Lady Belmont. There was one Lady Belmont before, Sonia, but she was kind of ambiguously canon. That was one of those games that Konami wasn't sure that counted. This character seems kind of inspired by her, but is definitely doing a different thing in the game design. This is explicitly Trevor Belmont's child, his daughter, which also means canonically his daughter with Saifa Belnades, which I did see many jokes about. Those Belnades genes are moving different because you see there is actually a shot of old man Trevor with like a scar, like reading that note in the trailer that we were confused by.
Oh, okay.
And then it's his daughter in like the background. But she's got kind of the same strawberry blonde hair that Saifa canonically has. So hopefully that also means we get to do some fucking wizard shit. But no, this is another one that's like, that one I'm super excited for. Like a not to downplay some of the more 3D action-y Castlevanias. I know they're not everybody's cup of tea, but people do like them. I like Lords of Shadow 1 and 2. I beat both of them. They were okay. They were quote unquote fun. I like I said, I think there are some purists who would detract, but I don't hold anything against a game franchise that's been around for 40 fucking years switching up their gameplay style. Like, Guys, there was a Castlevania original 64 that had fucking 3D action. It was been done. Shut up. Yeah, they've had 3D entries. Also, the pre-Symphony of the Night games are not Metroidvanias. They are like linear side-scrollers. Like they are stage-based action arcade games, It's just that obviously that Symphony of the Night's very, very famous, but I'm a big fan of Symphony of the Night. So getting a Metroidvania where people can stop saying, "Oh, when the last time a Castlevania came out?" Though, we're getting a Metroidvania Castlevania with a Lady Belmont, which is something they haven't done properly in forever. Trevor's daughter, so following on from Castlevania 3 timeline. Also, looks like we're going back to France. I've watched the trailer for you a couple of times now. The letter he receives is from the bishop of Notre Dame Cathedral, and you can see it in the backgrounds. Search action, yes, thank you, Legendary. That's the literal Japanese translation. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, they're calling it a Metroidvania exploring type game. I also did not know there was a fighting game on the Wii for Castlevania, but I'm not shocked. Like I said, Konami's not afraid to go a little further afield with some of their franchises. But yeah, no. They said that it should be coming out. Let me see if I can get a splash screen. Yeah, 2026. So I personally, October. Yeah. It's probably a little too early for them to lock in 100% and say it's coming in October, but I would assume it's coming in October. That seems correct, for a Castlevania game. That's another one that, like I said, I'm also very excited for that one, but that's, again, no fixed release date, so I can't really, work out my plan there. The fourth trailer from Konami, new Silent Hill.
I was surprised by this one a little bit, especially with the recent game they had.
Yeah, so no, they are continuing on and doing some interesting things. So we got a new Silent Hill Townfall. This one is interesting. It's set in it might be set in the 60s or something. I'm not sure. But it's in a small town in Scotland or England. Might be the 70s.
I want to say 70 to 80s range. He had that handheld little radio thing. That definitely looks like a design from the 70s to 80s. I personally want to say 80s, but I don't know my
I'm in
Well-
the trailer, so he's gonna look at his wristband in a second. That has this character's date of birth in. Was it Simon? But it's like in like a foggy like Scottish coastal town or something,
Mhm.
like British
British.
horror, which like foggy, sleepy. So I was curious, I was like, oh, is this like an H.P. Lovecraft thing? Like, Silent Hill is not explicitly Lovecraftian in that does not, I don't think anyway, directly reference the Cthulhu mythos.
Mhm.
It is, however, implicitly eldritch horror because among several things that imported to Japan that they really loved, Japan really loved early D&D fantasy and like CRPGs like Wizardry and Ultima. But if you don't know, TSR refused to license D&D officially in Japan, which is why the guys who did Records of Lodoss War made their own fantasy RPG, which
Power
went
to them,
to influence went on, I think, to along with the computer RPG titles, went on to influence early JRPGs like Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy. So they love old school D&D fantasy over there. They really like Twin Peaks. Love H.P. Lovecraft over there. Like honestly, I think it might just be the Eldritch and Unknowable combined with a lot of the coastal stuff, the New England thing going on there. Because there is also the UK version of Lovecraft Country is Campbell Country, Joe Ramsey Campbell, who wrote a lot of stuff set in the Severn Valley fictional area of Britain and stuff like that. So like there's also a deep-seated coastal ennui in parts of Britain, and that I think it translates to Japan as well. So like I said, Silent Hill's very Eldritch coded. So like I was a little curious there, but no, this Townfall looks like, again, I'm not a Silent Hill guy. Like, I don't think I'm going to play this game, but it looks good. I think they're doing good stuff with it. The kind of like you said, little handheld radio thing as like kind of the there. Let's see. Date of birth. Oh wait, shit. This is British. What year is it? Is that 59? Blood type A, Simon. Beautiful model of a Webley revolver. Webley's a very sexy revolver, but yeah, it makes perfect sense. Let's see, pushed by Annapurna and Screenburn. So and it looks like they're doing the Resident Evil 7 thing, and they're going first person, which honestly, not crazy. Adds to the spooky factor.
Oh yeah.
You're in a deserted fishing town that's like all isolated. There seems to be a emphasis on medical horror here. There's a lot of weird stuff with like IV needles and like bed straps and stuff, like to strap you into a stretcher. But yeah, it's an interesting one. It is kind of interesting to see, like you said, Konami going kind of full bore on this franchise, because like F was pretty well received, but also did draw some criticism.
Yeah, like
it was definitely doing its own thing, but still kind of true to form, but also had some stuff that may have detracted from some people's view. Despite people being concerned about Blooper Team, I think the Silent Hill 2 remaster or remake was pretty well received. So now they're kind of doing something different with it, which has the vibes, but is, doing a different angle, literally being first person. Sorry if I got slightly quiet there, Chad. I rubbed my nose. But yeah, no, it's a pretty intriguing one. Like I said, I'm not a big Silent Hill guy, so I don't know how it's going to go over, but it's interesting. There is going to be melee combat, but I don't know. Maybe being more first-person-y will lend it more towards being, the big spooky.
The big spooky.
As opposed to, like, apparently parts of F are kind of, like, almost, character action gamey in the amount of, like, fucking dodging and hitting you gotta do.
No, I've heard many jokes about the main character just kicking the fucking ever-living shit out of some of the enemies. So
no, you can get pretty hardcore in the melee combat in F from what I've heard. But then, Konami had a brand new announcement out here, which is an interesting one. Rev Noir, which is a brand new JRPG entry and franchise. Maybe franchise, I should say. Entry, anyway. Coming from Konami. They got a few different people working on it. It's interesting. My joke about the aesthetics was that it's like, oh, we made Expedition 33 a JRPG instead of a JRPG. Because they've got... I mean, it's called Rev Noir. They have a very similar kind of like interplay of light and dark thing going on. There's a lot of use of the gold color imagery, light to dark, lots of golden stuff like coming out of enemies and environments and stuff. looks like we're maybe going a little more towards the action RPG side based on the very, very limited gameplay they show. You know, you're doing like some old like dodging, ducking, and jumping into hit kind of stuff. But, you know, I mean, hey, it's a JRPG coming to PS5. People allegedly want that. We don't know if it's turn-based yet, so maybe they don't want it, but I should see. Did we get sorry, itching my nose again. Very itchy nose. But let me see. Yeah, Konami Group Corporation. Let me see what they've got to say. Mystery. Yeah, so I think it doesn't look like they've got anything hard and fast to say. They're still early in dev, so they're talking about that, but it is, you know, going to be an RPG. It's available for PS5. Might be exclusive. It doesn't on Konami's own website. They don't mention any other.
I don't know about that. Konami probably does not want to do many things exclusive right now because, like I said, we've had a definite a global marketing shift and a lot of things. If they have the space, they try to get it out on as many platforms as possible. At the very least, one console and PC.
Yeah,
and it's like that will, I think, is probably going to give you the best, market saturation that you're going to get.
It could just be that it's only listed on like PlayStation Store now because it is so early in development, and they announced it at a state of play. We'll see if there's anything in the future. Like technically, you can't pre-order it. You can wishlist it now in PS Store, but like it's still like super early.
Like people don't like to talk about it, but doing quality assurance for PC games is a lot harder than it is for console gaming.
I mean, as seen by kind of speaking of these big name third party studios, the problems that Capcom has had over this year, right? Like,
yeah,
we played Monster Hunter on console and it runs pretty good.
Yeah,
like pretty solid. I did not notice any major performance issues, but it was not as optimized on PC, and some people did have problems that they have been working steadily to iron out. So that's like a case where, like, yeah, no, that can be tough to do. I like, honestly, I think at these stage, like, it's always so funny to think about, but like Xbox is the afterthought, especially for a JRPG. But like, I could easily see this probably coming to Switch too. Nintendo and Sony do kind of seem to dance around each other with this kind of stuff, so it might be a timed exclusive. Like even Nintendo still does that sometime with some releases where they'll have something come to Switch or Switch 2 first for like 6 months or a year, and then go multi-plat.
Ooh, excuse me.
But
yeah,
I don't know. Like I said, it's only announced for PS5 right now, but it's also here, Chad. I'll link it to you, so you can read it. The statement from Konami is like nothing. like their official English webpage announcement is like so open ended. I'm glad people are excited for it. And it's like, I'll keep an eye on it for a JRPG, but it is still like super early level. Lightfall brings death to it touches. You've got Amnesia. There's a special girl.
I love my JRPG, but that is the most JRPG ass plot I've ever heard.
No, it's still like super high level. They don't have anything to say just yet about it in detail, but I'm glad they are working on it. I will say, if you want to do, an Amnesia boy and a special girl, Konami, you could do a Yu-Gi-Oh! Action RPG about Albaz and Ecclesia.
Honestly, I think that's something that I think cardboard cracked games need to embrace, is like, especially ones that do not have like media franchises in them. Like, say what you say like about like the Pokemon and Digimon trading card games. They have like animes and full on like media things about them. Yu-Gi-Oh! Media is about guys playing the card game, generally, not, the stories that happen within the cards.
Also, historically you are correct, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Also doesn't have an anime right now. Like, Vrains was the last one that was about the core TCG, and they've done 2 series about Rush, which is technically a side game, but I believe that Go Rush is ending soon, if not already over. And so, yeah, right now they're working on short form OVAs about the card lore. And I do say short form. They did do one about the what we call the Albaz storyline. Albaz, the dragon boy who falls out of the sky, and Ecclesia, the girl who hits him with a hammer. And they become friends. They did do like a 6-episode like OVA thing. Those were like 8 to 10 minutes long and didn't even do the whole story. So like they're much like rebuilding their video game studio. Konami's been rebuilding their animation portfolio. They have been doing some interesting things. I talked about Master Duel earlier. For their 4th anniversary, they did have another like solo mode that included animated cutscenes in it about IP Masquerade and SP Little Knight. So like they're doing little production value things, but yeah, this seems like a great time to actually do it. Is like you said, do a multimedia. Literally, I saw people like on watch along streams being like, "Oh, I just remembered Konami owns Yu-Gi-Oh. They should do a video game, an open world video game in like that sense. Like even if it was a game that ended up ultimately going back to the card game, not that it even needs to do that. I think first of all, there's the early days collection. There are several video games that, because they couldn't simulate the Yu-Gi-Oh rule set, do different things. But also, there's a lot of opportunity. Like you could just have a action game, like an anime action platformer thing, a video game. I just have it be about Yu-Gi-Oh lore. But we'll see if they ever get anywhere in that. But no, it's like right now the high level for Rev Noir is like super generics, and like that's, I don't hold that against it necessarily, but I don't also mean that they don't give them anything either, Mm-hmm. Kind of surprising, but we're releasing or they've just done a teaser trailer for a John Wick video game that looks super John Wick.
It's very John Wick.
I mean, it's got Keanu in it, face and voice. They show some like vague like probably early. Actually, yeah, no, captured on PS5, so captured in-engine footage. I don't want to say it's like Hitman. Like it's much more brutal in its melee takedowns. It's almost like a like the level of intensity you get. It's almost like reminds me of like the fucking environmental kills and takedowns you can do in fucking Sleeping Dogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like especially that one where he like grabs the like knife or the chopsticks off the counter and like jabs him in a guy's eye. It's like, yeah. But this is a lot more up close and personal. I'm not super attached to the John Wick franchise. I think it's kind of neat what they've done with like making movies from a stuntman's perspective, and certainly I think Keanu Reeves has fun doing it. But I'll have to see more exactly what the idea is. The funny thing I think is that they're doing it in kind of like complete cooperation with the director and obviously with Keanu on staff. And apparently it is meant to be in continuity. It's supposed to be like what he did before he retired with the dead girlfriend and the dog soon to be dead, which is like, I guess that's an unexplored area for the storytelling.
Okay.
Like, could be interesting. Have to see more what they're doing. New Marathon trailer advertising their
like
server slam. No, it's great. I didn't catch this the first time, but I watched the trailer back later with other ones. The AI speaking to us in this trailer, she says her name is Joy. Couldn't possibly be related to Durandal, played by Ben Starr. Also, hey, if you didn't know that, they got Ben Starr to play Durandal. For those of you not up on your Marathon lore, Durandal is the crazy AI when you're playing Marathon. He has some great monologues with you in text files. But yeah, he's named Durandal. The AI in Halo is Cortana. This colony AI speaking to us in this trailer, her name is Joy. It's probably short for Joyous.
Joy, yeah. About to say, another paladin sword. Let's go.
Yeah, no. So Marathon looks sick. This is the thing I was talking about again. We'll talk about a little bit about kind of like the state of like High Guard, but like people are like, "Oh no, is Marathon like in trouble?" And I'm like, "I don't think so, because the art direction for Marathon is much more carefully constructed and much more unique. Like this all their trailers just kind of like ooze style and vibes. Like all of their weapons have that very specific sort of like look to them, like the blocky 3D printed parts. The environments are all really interesting. It's like slightly spooky in the way that like certain areas of Marathon and even Halo and Destiny could be. It also looks like we're going back to, again, something that Destiny and Halo didn't lean as much into, but definitely was in truth in like stuff like Marathon and Pathways into Darkness. Like lots of weird psychological shit going on, So like it's got a good styled look, and they did say they're going to do what they call in their server slam. It's going to be their preview weekend. It's going to start the 26th, go until the 3rd, ends just a couple of days, or no, the 2nd, sorry. Ends just a couple of days before the game goes live on the 5th. I did actually double check this, both what they said and what they've announced. It's not that progression is going to carry over necessarily, but progression you make in the server slam will result in rewards in the final version of the game. So not a one-to-one carryover, but you will get bonuses for playing the beta and progressing.
I am interested in the server slam. Because I'm like, I play Destiny, I like Halos, I like my things, but I'm always leery about extraction shooters, especially when they're all like, PvP, PvPvE. I'm all like, do we really need the VP?
That is kind of the part that, like, everybody who has been playing Marathon is like, the fact that it includes PvP is weird. That seems like a marketing move, but we'll see. It's been through a couple of closed tests. Bungie has been responding to feedback. Again, the style of this game is phenomenal. Like, the short trailers they've been putting out they've been doing some samples of the OST on their YouTube channel, and it's like,
oh no.
Like, very good style.
Like you were saying before, like, you're saying, it's like, it's oozing and stuff. I'm like, I've just said, like, yeah, it's definitely oozing something.
It's oozing all the blue fake android blood.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of interesting stuff. They've been, like, slowly over the past months, like, doing a lot of marketing with, like, small trailers. They've got a whole, like, faction system that your runner does jobs for, like, depending on who you, like, turn your loot into, I guess, or what other objectives you do. And, like, they're really weird. There's shit like, we manufacture all of your food, and then we've got a cult of death. Death will set you free. Like, no, we are going ham on the aesthetics for this, and that does seem to be tied to kind of the stuff they've got going on. If you're curious, they've already shown off. We're probably going to have BR-33, the battle rifle, the 3-round burst rifle. Will seem to be showing up in some early promos. So I'm definitely going to check out the server slam. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm buying Marathon kind of day one stuff. A little sad that it doesn't look like there's a normal physical release. Like, I really like Bungie's games. I am a big Halo guy. I really did play a lot of Destiny. The only reason why I don't play a lot of Destiny 2 is because the game is fucking impossible to install. I think it would take my entire PS5 at this point. Like, it's just so much fucking space. But I really like their gameplay, right? Like, their gunplay has always been super tight. I played Marathon as a kid. I was terrible at it. I had no idea what I was doing. But, like, I'm familiar with Marathon as a concept, and, like, Bungie does some really interesting things. So, like, I'm very invested. It is just one of those things where, like, I do have to play it first, because if it is a little too focused on the PvP cutthroat parts, like, that is gonna blunt my fun. Like, I am not averse to playing multiplayer shooters, but I usually play, like, team-based stuff that's a little more quick play or round-based, So I don't know where the extraction part is going to come in. I have avoided Arc Raiders. I never played Escape from Tarkov, even if Jay did make it look pretty fun.
Like, well, that's because it's Jay. Jay makes anything look fun. But no, like, the only extraction player I play is Sin Duality, the anime waifu or husbando, depending on one developed by I can't remember who developed it now. And they do something that I like, which makes it, eminently playable, is in that, and I believe this is also what they did in Arc Raiders, but depending on your playstyle, whether you are aggressive to other players, they will usually try to match you in zones that meet your playstyle. So if you're not, like, necessarily interested in, shooting other players, you just want to, keep your head down, mine some crystals, or gather whatever loot and get back out, usually you'll be paired with other players who want to do the same thing. But if you want to enjoy, the thrill of combat and battle, they usually get paired with,
get put in more PvP type servers.
Again, that's one of those things that when people learn it, they got mad, because PvPers really don't want to play with other PvPers. They want to play with other people who want, they can kill easily. Because, boy howdy, do people love their KDA. But if they do something like that, Marathon will probably be something I'll be, like, more interested in. Because, like I said, the aesthetics is good. Bungie gameplay has always been fucking tight. And you seem really hyped for this. And, like, this is one of those things I'm like, if you or Loth or Axe or Aaron or something, like, are really into something, I'll be like, put me in, coach. I'm here for this.
Yeah, like, it's a game that is doing some different stuff, and I'm hoping that it does have some, like, it does seem like they have some, rarity type weapons and stuff, but, that was Destiny, right? But there are a couple of different kits to pick from, a couple of different body types to basically be classes. And one thing that, like, I do think is very strong about the game, that I do like that people are kind of hammering the drum on the internet. Arc Raiders, it didn't really suffer for this, but, like, people made some waves about the fact that, like, it has some like, AI sampled voices, like, they've got a lot of AI generation. Marathon has a fucking all-star voice cast. I just mentioned Ben Starr's in it. I think Joyous is Jennifer English.
I believe so, yes.
The whole thing, I think, was voice directed by, at least he's on the actual, like, voice direction team, Elias Tufexis. who you may remember as Adam fucking Jensen. I never asked for this. I believe he's also, like, does some voices in it. Like, they have a huge, like, cast of actual voice actors in the game, which is really interesting because I'm like, okay, you brought some cinematic names to this. Obviously, that's cool, but also, what are they doing? What are they talking?
Like, I don't want to say this is, like, a Hail Mary from Sony to break into the multiplayer scene, but I do feel like Sony has a lot riding on this. So I'm hoping
is that Bungie broke free of Activision and they were like, "Hey Sony, we've done a real great partnership over the years with Destiny and Destiny 2. We've got some other projects in the can. Can you guys keep us float us some cash?" I believe it was pretty famously that Bungie was brought in by Sony to like look over several of their multiplayer titles and make sure they were like had their back end right. Because say what you will about Destiny 2 decisions, as far as I know, the multiplayer part of that game has functioned pretty good usually. You can you can queue for 3-mans and 6-mans and PvP and shit pretty easily. And what if I had to guess what happened was that Bungie was like, hey, so we've got some very early designs for some shit with our old Marathon franchise. Are you guys interested in bankrolling that? And probably showed them some of the early like design docs, which yes, their art director was lifting assets, but like I said, it's not, jokes aside, it's not like an entirely stolen art, like it's a whole aesthetic that one artist was using that, some of their assets were lifted as placeholders and eventually got replaced. But there is a whole aesthetic they're going for. But I assume they showed Sony that whole aesthetic thing they had going on, and they're like, yeah, we're thinking, like maybe Bungie would have said, we're thinking maybe breaking into the extraction shooter thing. That seems like it's going to be the next cool thing. Something multiplayer, and Sony was like, all right, because it does seem like Sony is very, very permissive when it comes to their partners. They were like, what do you require? And they're like, I don't know, can we get Ben Starr? Sony's like, Ben Starr will do anything for money.
It is time. Yes.
With the classic. So, like, yeah, no. And I just, like, give me a sick. Give me some tight Bungie gameplay. Give me a good sniper rifle. Give me a good pistol. Give me some fun ARs and shotguns. The powers look cool. You can heal. You can shield. You can sneak. And I think it's as much as 1 to 3 players, maybe more on a team. So we'll probably see when they do the open test on PS5 and PC. I think it's like, yeah, no, like this is like. I was the guy when they showed that first trailer, I think at the Game Awards a couple years ago, I was like, wait a minute, is that fucking Marathon? And then I see the logo, I'm like, holy shit, it's Marathon! Like I said, I played the original Marathon as a kid. I have very, very strong memories of playing it, and like I said, being terrible at it, not knowing where to go. The original Marathon is a fucking maze. It's literally non-Euclidean. The maps literally fold back in on themselves. And this is before the later game, like in Marathon 2 and 3, they're like actually like weird. Like bending space and time type shit. So like, no, I'm very excited for this. I have been hesitant about locking in a pre-order 1 because I don't think they're doing physical releases for anything but their deluxe. So like, that's kind of like, if I'm going to get it digitally, I can buy it day 1 anyway. And also I'm like, I've learned to be cautious about video games, especially as like I've heard some people have some mixed responses to some of the early closed alphas. Like, people had some strong feedback, but it did seem like Bungie has been addressing that in later closed alpha tests. So, like, I want to get my hands on it and see and feel for myself. Which is, like, again, one of those things that's really important is to, like, get hands on something. Like, I know that, like, it is difficult to do demos and betas and stuff for smaller platforms. I think that is something that I think Bungie has been hopefully relying on Sony to, like, put the word out and be cooperative on to make sure they've got it rolling out there. But like, it is important. So yeah, no, I'm excited for Marathon. I've said this before. I went on a long like Twitter ramble about my thoughts about like High Guard and the general state of like multiplayer shooters. I have been a multiplayer shooter guy, chat. I have prestiged in Modern Warfare 2. I have prestiged in Titanfall 2. Like, I play multiplayer shooters, but I play them in a very specific way. So like, I have an itch for that kind of gameplay, but the market trends have kind of gone away from some of that stuff a little. So like I'm hoping Marathon will scratch that itch again. And if we can get some friends together for it, all the better. Like there are some games that are definitely better with friends, and I think like That's like actually was one of the like complaints about the closed beta was like, oh, if you have a 3-man preformed team who is like in communication, they're like really strong. Like actually like not necessarily balanced if you're like a solo player versus like a 3-man deep team. And I'm like, that sounds really interesting actually, as somebody who might assemble a 2 to 3-man team.
Yeah.
So like I'm curious, and I want to we want to have some fun. We want to try some shit out. Obviously more on that. It's going to be a weekend. Might, much like I did for the Battlefield beta, might run that up on a stream like on a Saturday afternoon just to show people. Otherwise, we'll definitely be talking about it on the show when it happens. So stay tuned to that. They talked about new games coming to PS Plus. We're getting Spider-Man 2 finally.
Yeah.
Which, once again, rewarded for paying for PS Plus and waiting. I own Miles Morales, but have not actually played it. I should run that up. But that's coming in like next week. Along with a couple of other games. Did I? I think I posted the tweets in games.
Oh, excuse me.
Sorry, responding. I was playing Death Stranding 2 and just got the private room jump scare. Scroll up. Also, by the way, speaking of Capcom, that's right, I mentioned this. Capcom just released Dino Crisis 2 to Steam. Just out of nowhere. Okay, that's the Resident Evil. There it is. Yeah, so it's gonna be Spider-Man 2, Neva, Season Letter of the Future, Test Drive, Venba, and Monster Hunter Stories 2. Because, which I think is assuming has become Monster Hunter Stories 3 is coming out pretty soon.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, makes sense. They also talked about the stuff coming to the Classics Collection. Stories 3 is next month. Yeah, so that's the perfect time for them to be like, and if you want to check out this series, try out Stories 2 on PS Plus. They also talked about some of their stuff coming to Classics. They're doing Tekken Dark Resurrection coming next month to Classics, which was on the PSP, I think. And the original PlayStation 1 Time Crisis.
That's so wild.
Including, by the way, I didn't overhear this at the time, but I watched it back later. You can turn on the gyroscopic controls in your motion-sensitive controller and aim that way.
It seems a little weird, but...
Weird, but neat.
Yeah.
To have kind of those original light gun type controls. We got some gameplay for Seros. Seros just continues to... I didn't play, like, even though it was PS Plus, I didn't actually get around to playing Returnal, so I'm like, I can't say I'm like, firmly as hype as some people for this, but this Seros seems like more and more my jam. They're talking all the good shit. The Eclipse, the shape-shifting planet of Carcosa, etc. And then they're like, also, by the way, check out our hub world where you can unlock permanent upgrades and progression.
It's like, shit, yes, that's what I want, right there.
Check out our teleportation hub so you can instantly jump back to biomes and resume your gameplay missions and quests from where you left off. And you can interact with NPCs and stuff, too, in the passage, your hub. And I'm just like, yeah, no, this is like, sounds really cool. I like Rahul Kohli. He's a cool actor. I've seen him in a couple of things. They look like they're kind of doing a system similar to like the heat rules from Hades, so you can like add positive and negative modifiers so long as they balance out. So like if there's a bad thing you don't mind, you can get a positive thing in there to make up for it, which is like that's pretty cool. I always like, I don't use them to the fullest always, but I do. I know some people complain about video games being like build your own difficulty level. But, like, I genuinely like that that's a video game design thing we can do more of. Like, the ability for you to tweak your individual, like, difficulty pulls is, like, one, really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And two, like, also covers some issues, like, with video game design. Like, sometimes, like, in older generations of games, or even today, if they don't have these options, sometimes you have to play video games, and just, if they have, like, one weird little thing you don't like, you just gotta suck it up. And that's not necessarily wrong, especially if like certain parts are intended by the developer, but some difficulty stuff is like they don't care, they're just like trying to figure out how to balance the video game. So it's like, I think for instance one of the things is like one of the modifiers they show in the Seros trailer is you can add a modifier so you always perfect reload, like you don't have to do their active reload thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's neat. If you don't like active reloading, there are some people who struggle with it or just don't like it. You can turn it off, and just if you find a difficulty modifier the other way, you balance out. It's good. So like I'm very very tracking Saros as well. That's gonna be is that late April or late May? Show me the release date. Evil ass planet. No, the planet is super evil, man. It's Carcosa. It's definitely evil. Saros. April 30th, yeah, so end of April. Next, we got our Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls trailer. They showed a little bit of some story stuff. They appear to be, actually having some story stuff going on. Earth is in danger, obviously.
Yeah, but also you get danger, which
Also true.
I feel is probably the most fucking Arxis grab they could fucking do.
Yeah, but it's also pretty great. So this time they've fully revealed one of the teams of 4, which is the Unbreakable X-Men. So they showed off Storm previously. Storm's still looking great. But also Magic is back. She's in. She's got a big sword. It's Colossus' sister. Wolverine, voiced by Steve Blum. It's great. You love to see it. And as Lucky mentioned before, the 4th member of the team is Danger, who is technically a character who's existed in comics for a while.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, it's Marvel. It's Marvel X-Men, which is, saying she's weird is an understatement. But no, she's been around for a while.
Like, I didn't know this character, but I instantly was like, oh, she's got the X-Men logo on her forehead and her name is Danger, so it's an AI that runs the Danger Room.
Yeah.
I know how this works. But no, you're absolutely right about being an Arxis pull. But also, shout out to Arxis, in addition to other stuff, they included multiple anime references. She grows glowing butterfly wings like the fucking Turn A Gundam, and then does a Giga Drill Breaker as like her finisher. Like, straight up with the pose right out of TTGL.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they know what they're doing. But yeah, no, they show off a lot of the stuff going on. Apparently some people noticed some details in the trailer. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Legendary's talking about, yeah, she also tried to kill him for, like, a really long time, because, Professor X was not a great father. Literally,
that is historically true. Professor Xavier is a bad dad, canon, TM. Like, you can argue he's a better adoptive dad to the X-Men, but also there are a number of X-Men stories that are about, hey, Charles Xavier basically turned these kids into child soldiers. Cyclops is not okay. But yeah, no. In the trailer, at least, she talks about being like the last remnant of Shi'ar technology. We see the Shi'ar homeworld get blown up in the start of the trailer, so that's interesting. But that's going to be August 6th. They did say in some of the preamble after they're going to have 20 characters available at launch, and it looks like we're doing 5 teams of 4, so you can mix and match teammates, it looks like, but it's very interesting to me about what teams they've got going on. So we've got the Unbreakable X-Men, Storm, Wolvie, Magic, Danger, which is like, again, this is the kind of shit people want from fighting games. To me, as like a pretty casual like X-Men and Marvel Comics fan, perfect pulls. 2 major headliners, like Wolverine obviously is a poster boy for a reason, but also Storm has canonically led the X-Men several times and is a great pick for it. Magic's been getting more popular because of Marvel Rivals, but she is a known factor. Like, she's been around for fucking years, decades. And then Danger as like, yeah, the weird one. But what also is great to me is the teams we've got. So the 5 poster characters they've shown are Storm, Doctor Doom, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Cap, and Ghost Rider, right?
Yeah.
So Cap's team is going to be the Avengers, duh. They've shown off Iron Man as well. Kind of wonder who else we'll get in there, but you can get the Avengers is pretty big. I'm hoping for some fucking weird ones, but you can get Cap, get Tony, maybe you'll get Black Widow in there. Who knows?
Ooh, excuse me.
Some normal pulls. Spider-Man's pretty interesting. There's a couple of ways you could take that. Peter Parker is a phenomenal multi-role player. He has been on the Avengers before. I think he's been a Defender before. I know for a fact he's worked with the Fantastic Four and like the Future Institute stuff. So like that could be anything. Could be his team. Did they show Mr. Fantastic previously? I don't think they did. I imagine if Doom is here, they got to put Mr. F. So I would assume that like we'd put Pete on Future Foundation.
Well, he's not
I don't know.
familiar with like Marvel organizations, so
yeah. That's just like one of the rebrands of the Fantastic Four when they occasionally add extra team members. But also Fantastic Four could be like a DLC season, you could do all 4, the classic. Absolutely no clue who Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider is partnering with. Like I don't know shit about Ghost Rider other than that he exists and he, does flaming chains and stuff. So that's like, man, I don't know. Yeah, Doom is all over the place. But also Doom implies that he's going to have a villain team. which is also going to be super interesting. Like, not Sinister Six, but like who would Doom pal up with? He's like got his back to it. I don't know if that means anything for rivals. We're talking about if they're going to add Cyclops to rivals. We'll see, but I mean that's going to be a hell and a half. Emma Frost and Phoenix are already in rivals.
What villains would I pair up with Doom? I don't know.
Dr. Doom and through Doombots. I'm like, who would be like we can think of it this way. You're Arxis. You're building an anime-ass Marvel fighting game. You've got Dr. Doom and probably 3 more villains to slot in. Who would you pick?
Carnage.
It's a big range. Ooh, Carnage is a good one.
Sorry, it's just like trying to think of like one of the most anime-ass villains. Probably
and like
Carnage. That's
a good fighting game moveset. Symbiotes are good fighting game moveset bullshit. Like Loki, maybe? Especially if like we've got the Avengers, so we could have Thor, so Thor v Loki is pretty solid. But like, you know, I mean there's so many. Like you could do Madam Hydra. Here's the thing. It's Arxis and it's very anime tone, so like they could do Red Skull. I don't know what Red Skull's moveset would be. Ultron?
Ultra's probably be pretty good, I think.
They got Tony Stark. We could do Ultron. Actually, shit, if we're doing the Avengers, could we do Banner Hulk? That could be funny. A stance-based fighter?
Can we do Grey Hulk just because I want him in a fighting game?
That'd be funny. We could do some Hulks. There's a lot of funny Hulks. There's She-Hulk. There's Red She-Hulk, which is Betsy Ross. They do some silly stuff. Like, we got Spidey. Like, there's so many. I don't know if they can pull it off, but I'd love a fighting game where just the Sinister Six is just one character, and you just switch. Because, like, any of Spider-Man's classic villains could be a really good fighting game character. Vulture, Doc Ock, Rhino, Green Goblin, Mysterio, like, etc. Like, that is all kinds of fun stuff you can have there. Like, Green Goblin is like, classic meme potential, but, you know, you don't gotta go there. Doc Ock would be great. Hell, steal from Spider-Verse, do Dr. Octavia.
That'd be interesting.
Like, she has a real good design. With her, like soft robotics tentacles, like, that was pretty slick. There's so many weird characters we could do.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, like, there's so many good villains, I think, to choose from, but, like putting, like, 4 villains in a team, that's very hard for me. Yeah,
and I don't know how strict like I said, the same thing. I don't know that much about Robbie Reyes, and it's like, who would be on a 4-man squad with Ghost Rider? Like, who is Ghost Rider homies with anybody in the comics? Is he a Defender?
I'm pretty sure he has had some team ups.
I mean, obviously, yeah. Like, there's been like 3 or 4 Ghost Riders at this point, so you know you've got Legacy, but it's like, who would you put in there? Like, that could be anybody. Daredevil would be a sick fighting game character.
I'm waiting for the inevitable Deadpool announcement.
Deadpool would be pretty solid, but that's, you know, going out there. Oh, Juggernaut! That would be great. You don't have to give me a list. I know there's a lot of Ghost Riders. But like Daredevil could be pretty cool. We could do Blade. I mean, they've got magic, so I'm not saying I don't know if they want to be stepping on Marvel rivals' toes, but also they're Marvel characters. There's only so many famous ones, you know. It's like racking up your X-Men and your Spider-Man. Oh yeah, that's right. They did show Star-Lord, so it could be a cosmic team. Star-Lord, Ghost Rider, Nova could be fun.
Silver
I do hope Rocket is a character. Just because he's been in fighting games before, there's a lot of funny things you can do with Rocket Raccoon. Anyway, Tokon, I'm not a big fighting game guy, but it does look like they're going to have campaign stuff as well. They've said they're going to have a narrative. And this shit looks sick.
Clearly this means we're going to have Howard the Duck.
Oh, as like a joke character, I'm sure we can pull that off. But PlayStation did have a twofold one more thing. They confirmed they are working on a remake of the original God of War trilogy, 1, 2, 3.
Yep. Complete with, voice actor TC was it TJ Carson?
No, it's TC. It is TC.
It is TC, my bad.
Yeah. That's what he's like. He's like, it's the original TC. So, yeah, they brought him back to do the remake. They didn't have any footage to show. It sounds like they're still pretty early in the project, but they did confirm it. I believe it had been like rumored or leaked for a while, but they were like, yeah, we're working on it. That's going to be really interesting to see because, like, I do think that the older God of War games did have something to say, that those themes get carried over into the Norse games, but they were also, the sex minigame ones, which was like very transgressive at the time, but is kind of like a little weird now to be like, yeah, I guess press circle to have sex.
I mean, it got me going like, hey, as a kid, which I think is the point.
Yeah. So, like, that is kind of interesting. Like, will they keep some of those tones? Because, like, it is there for you to go, here, spin the stick, have sex, statue fall over. But, like, and not to say that, like, you know, video games haven't lost their sex appeal by any means, but it is, like, a different kind of time to have a laugh. But, you know, I guess we'll see what they're going for. But they did have another one because they also showed off in association with, is it Mad Cat Studio? I think that was the name of them. But God of War Sons of Sparta, a pixel art 2D action adventure prequel.
Yeah, Kratos has his time in Sparta, it looks like, as a boy. Now he gets to be called boy.
And it's even funnier because I'm pretty sure his buddy you see is the original Atreus, which the boy is named after.
I mean, that'd be the best.
So I think that's the kind of vibe they're going for. So yeah, they've got, you know, a side-scrolling, like, beautiful pixel art. Possibly 2-man co-op? I don't know. It's out now, so, like, I'm sure people can find out some information. But that is the you know, big slammer at the end. They're like, come in 2026, and they're like, haha, fuck you, now. Shadow drop.
I love how they use the pixels to, like, the slam date and destroy and be like, nay.
Yeah, doing the spear charge, like, not my exact cup of tea, but cool that it came out. Like, looks beautiful, and I think it's kind of an interesting space. Oh, it's his brother Deimos. Okay.
Oh,
Atreus will probably be in the story.
That's right. He did have a brother, but you don't really deal with that unless you play the PSP game. Forget about these things.
Honestly, that kind of seems like what they're going for. You know, like, with we're remaking the Greek trilogy, and then we've got this prequel game is kind of like being like, yeah, our continuity's all over the place.
If they remake the game, I wonder if they can put in, like, some of the other stuff. I think that'd be good.
I mean, like I said, they're going for remake, so, like, yeah, like, they're not just HDifying them, so presumably that means they'll get a chance to do, like, a second pass at the script, you know, maybe kind of tie some stuff together a little better. Obviously, like, back in the day with video games, you could expect sequels at a certain level, but, like, I don't know if they, you know, wrote the original God of War thinking they'd do 2 more, you know?
I don't think they did, thinking about how it ended.
Like, that may be something that they can, you know, tighten up and figure out. I would guess they're going to end it with more bridge content to suggest the lead into the Norse games, just because they have them now. But, like, there's a lot of room for them to bring over stuff. It'll be interesting to see if it's, like, a true top to bottom, like remake, or is it just going to be like, okay, so we remade the games, but they're still basically the same. We just built them with, you know, new quality of life and graphics in mind. Or is it going to be like, we're going to use the same engine we used for God of War and Ragnarok, like, type shit. Again, they're early in dev, so we'll have to see what they're working on. I am also actually, like, very interested in an Atreus standalone game, whether that's Egypt or Britain or Japan. I mean, well, yeah, I haven't done the new Ragnarok, like, roguelike stuff, but, like, I feel like they leave room that you could return to Kratos, in the sense that, like, he could still do stuff, but I do kind of feel like Ragnarok ends on completing his character arc of him being like, hey, Kratos, people actually like and appreciate you now. You
hang out with Freya.
You've done the full loop of, like, you've been like a soldier, a general, a father, and a god, and are, like, appreciated for it. Like nothing went horribly wrong, and, you know, got turbo fucked up, or, like, you know, horribly ironic. It turns out the one with great hubris was old Wotan, and he's gone now. He was the dumbass who was like, I must see, I must know. Let's check. I guess see the story conclusion. Do we put? Does Mimir ever get his neck down back, or is he stuck being a head forever?
He's stuck on Kratos' ass for the rest of his fucking life. Consider his life before, I don't think he minds that much.
Well, you know, it is heavily implied he's old. Robin Goodfellow himself, the old puckster. So I'm sure that, like, hanging out with Kratos and Freya is not any more of an occupational hazard than, you know, the mythos of the Aeshi and all the, like, Celtic gods fucking around watching out Balor's eye beams. Balor's eye beams, by the way, in case you didn't know.
This is the thing that, like, bugs me about the God of War universe. It looks like it has, like, many interesting stories to tell, and I just don't know where they're going to go with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the same thing as well, where I'm like, I do want to see an Atreus follow-up game, because that, like, seems like that's where the story is going after Ragnarok, is, like, boy can actually set it on his own and kind of figure out his own shit. But also, like, we're not doing that. We're doing a trilogy remake and a prequel? And it's like, the whole point of the ending sequence of God of War 2018 felt like it was kind of like, revealing like the whole thing with Tyr and like being like Tyr talked to a bunch of other gods, all over the place. It's like they kind of like that felt like they were opening up the setting to like franchise, but also only Santa Monica Studio is working on those games. So like most AAA game studios these days, it takes them like 5 or 6 years to do everything. I don't know, man. It's also true. I like a lot of people was kind of thinking that Kratos would have to, end up dying at the end. And he's like, no, you're fine, bud. You still got your house. You probably still have a dog. What can you do? All right, let us take a little break, Ski, though. Take a quick intermission. Actually, no, you still want to... Well, actually, I should ask. Do you want us to talk about Starsector?
I can.
All right, let us take a break, Ski, then.
Resume.
So, let me see. I think I could probably summarize my Highguard comments I alluded to earlier.
Yeah, go for that.
Without too much, because honestly, I think I got most of my feelings out on Twitter, but I did talk about that or say that I would talk about it later, so I do want to, put it in the show. And basically, news came out this week that Wildlight, the studio behind Highguard, has done the sadly kind of typical thing with game development, has been for years, where the game has been out a couple of weeks and they have laid off like 80% of their workforce. Like most of their workers are gone and they just have a core team left to work on updates. Most people are kind of interpreting this as like game dead. I don't know for sure if it's dead. Like they still have stuff going on. They haven't put out their ranked mode yet, and there could be room in there. But it is probably kind of a sign that the game is in a bad way. I talked before about how kind of like it felt to me kind of like they're especially because there was no originally intended promo for it. Their release date kind of came just when they ran out of venture capital money to fund development. They had to release the product, so they just picked a day to release it. With so many people coming off, there have of course been like the usual kind of like interviews and recriminations. Some people are mad at Jeff Keighley for kind of calling the game out. Some people are kind of said they were like mad about gamer culture and like reviews. Being honest, I don't think that's the actual answer. Like, I kind of feel like they were damned if they do, damned if they didn't.
Yeah.
Like, yes, Jeff Keighley putting this as his personal pick, his one more thing at the end of the Video Game Awards, not a great look.
Weird.
He tried it hands-on and was really enthused, but I don't think it should have been, like, the one last thing. Like, it was definitely not more hype than Capcom announcing they're doing a new Mega Man game kind of thing. Probably not as cool as, like, the Star Wars Galactic Racer and the new Old Republic game kind of announcements we got. Could have been tucked into the middle of the show, probably right around the time they did a multiplayer game award, right?
Yeah.
On the flip side, talking about how like, oh, that release at the Game Awards set us up for failure. We got like, 14,000, 20,000 negative reviews from people who had like less than an hour of playtime when the game came out because they were just so interested in seeing us fail. That does suck. That is bad. I don't want to say it's not bad. You wouldn't have had 20,000 people play the game, period, if Jeff Keighley hadn't done that. This game got like 100,000 concurrents on launch day. Like, this like shadow drop, we're gonna let the media speak for itself type thing, I don't think it would have worked because Highguard is kind of sauceless. I'll say it. I played it pretty intensely for about a week. I tried the 5v5. I was in there. I was in the trenches. It's kind of sauceless. Not to say that the gameplay is sauceless. Like, the 3v3 raid mechanic is pretty interesting. The 5v5 really made it very extra dynamic, like added a lot of mileage to it. But there's a lot of gameplay mechanics that are just kind of there. It had the most bland, like, 8 FPS multiplayer guns you could pick from ever. You've got pump shotgun, auto shotgun. You've got 2 assault rifles because they're different somehow. You've got burst assault rifle. You had sniper rifle, and you had revolver. Cool, great, thanks. Oh, and an SMG. And I guess the twin barrel SMG was kind of unique, but that's still like less than a dozen gun types. They all had a rarity system for like no reason. There was this whole looting mechanic that is like cool, but like definitely felt like it was much more aiming for, the battle royale or the extraction shooter space rather than a tactical, PvP team versus team thing. If you wanted people to sweat, they didn't launch with a ranked mode, you know? Like, ranked mode, I don't think still isn't out, like, several weeks after release. So, like, the maps are pretty, but they're huge, and I talked about it, they're kind of just, like, ArtStation core, like, just, they found a bunch of concept artists who had cool portfolios, and then just told them to draw whatever. It looks good, but it doesn't really have any rhyme or reason. It's just a kit bash of a bunch of different fantasy and sci-fi and steampunk type archetypes. Like, they're cool, but they don't mean anything. Like, there's no deeper meaning or detail to it. They're just window dressing for these, like, tactical conflicts. The characters are, like, the most bland hero archetypes at all. I could not tell you what the character tropes for most of the characters are, except for a couple. Mara is the vaguely evil one. She's not actually evil, but she's, you know, sad and depressed, and she sucks out souls.
Slurp.
The sand-themed one with her midriff bared is like the spunky street rat character. And then the one with the eagle was like the action-adventure archaeologist. She's just pleased as punch to be here. And the rest is just like, I played a lot as, was it Enna, the turret forest witch woman? Her personality, I got the read, was Mother Tree, Scottish lady. Scottish tree. And there are characters who I think had even less personality. Like, they are the most boilerplate character archetypes. Their looks are all super generic. Their power sets were interesting, but were also, like, very much, you know, oh, we're doing a team-based, you know, tactical PvP shooter with powers, with hero powers. What are we gonna do? Okay, you got the guy who gives you overshield. You've got the guy who has a stealth cloak. That's the sand lady I talked about. You know, the ice guy makes ice walls. The cover guy throws shocky sticks to be annoying. The bear guy punches down walls. He breaks walls. Chat, these are just powers in Rainbow Six Siege. But those guys had a lot of personality. You guys know the EMP guy from Rainbow Six Siege. You know our 6-man, because that's the guy who's like, fucking laser sights. Some of you have probably heard that meme on the internet before. That's Pulse, baby. He's buddies with Sledge, who is the hammer guy who breaks down walls. There's Castle, who makes walls reinforced. There's Thermite, who burns through walls. Ash had a grenade launcher and was a woman. Actually, R6 had a lot of women, but, you know, that's kind of was Ash's claim to fame back in the day. But, like, IQ had, like, a tracker for enemies, and there was also Pulse, who had the tracker for heartbeats. He had the heartbeat monitor. Like, that's just kind of like all the powers they have. So, like, they didn't have anything cohesive to bring them together. Which brings me to my second point, which was, this game had no progression. You had daily and weekly challenges, and you had a battle pass thing, which was a battle pass. When the first one was free, though. Yes, yeah, this was a tweet chain, and it was just like, the game just didn't have any reason to play it other than love of the gameplay, but the gameplay is good, but it's not that good, right?
Right.
Like, you're just playing it to play it, and there's no reason to play. Like, maybe if you had a 3-stack or a 5-stack, this is fucking my math up. Like, if you had a stack of people ready to play this game, and you were waiting for ranked, you might play it non-ranked just to play casual. You might play ranked to sweat, but ranked didn't exist yet. There's nothing to do except grind normal currency so you can, like, turn your gun blue or green. Like, all your weapons are unlocked all the time, and it doesn't matter because they're all randomized by loot. Your heroes don't change. You don't have anything to unlock there. The maps are all kind of just there. You can vote to pick different, like, bases. You know, your base to be rated for different strategic options. But honestly, most of them weren't different enough to matter to casual matchmaking players. There was no reason to keep playing the game without this kind of meta progression thing. And like I said, that's why I think that the game is gonna end up floundering a little, is because they were a free-to-play game whose only hook was buying premium currency for cosmetics. Why would you pay real cash money to get, like, a golden gun when, one, you don't know if you're going to be using that gun in a match because it's all randomized loot? If you spend, you know, $1 or $5 or however much it would take you to get the premium currency, you know, to turn your revolver gold, well, what if you don't pick up any good revolvers? You can't guarantee they're going to be in the shop either. So, like, what's the point? What's the point of buying cosmetics? well, you can buy Heroes cosmetics, but the hero cosmetics they had were pretty limited. Like, there wasn't too many of them. And like I said, this is something that, like, I think Overwatch did very good, right? The Overwatch character designers are the once and future kings. I say once and future because Overwatch, number one, was phenomenal for its character designs. You see Tracer, you see Winston the Gorilla, you see Reaper, like, you're like, I get that guy. I understand what this character is about. They look good, or they look hot. They have, their character vibes. Mercy, the German doctor, is a literal angel. She revives people from the dead. Cool, got it. May's wearing a big parka. She's the ice one, You follow along, right? And I want to say this. While Overwatch has been in some rough times, they've literally killed Overwatch 2 to go back to calling it Overwatch, which is dumb. But then they released 5 whole new characters, one of whom is, some of you may have seen on the internet. Her name is literally Domina. She is a dark-skinned tank, so she's a giant muscle woman with floating robot arms. But she's like, not like Zarya muscle, she's like a big lady. She's like, suave, executive, sexy big lady. Like, so once again, the team's cooking. I mean, the Jetpack Cat, though, that's funny as hell. They've got a Jetpack Cat. He's called Jetpack Cat. Joke characters have existed in video games forever. Noob Saibot, all that shit. Like, so, like, Overwatch has, I think, problems with, like, some of their gameplay stuff, and the fact that they had all this, like, clear background energy, and then they just didn't do anything with all the story threads they invented. But, like, you gotta feel it. Like, Overwatch still has that. Rainbow Six has, like, new people you unlock, and, like, you can, grind for attachments and currency and stuff. All kinds of old school stuff. So, like, I think that, like, Highguard lacks the thing to make me want to keep playing for something. And I did conclude this with a tweet that Axis just cross-posted for people in the Patreon chat who didn't see it, which is just like, you gotta go back to old school progression, baby! You need prestige levels. Fuck Battle Pass for skins. Actually, don't do that. That seems like a decent way to get your money out of it. But, like, you should start at level 1 with no perks. You have frag grenades and a naked M16. You want double golden deagles? You gotta play for 60 hours, baby. That's how. That's why people got up every day to grind out games. Like I said, I've prestiged in Modern Warfare before. I've prestiged in Titanfall 2. I did it because I liked unlocking all that shit, and I went, man, that was a cool journey. I'll do that again for extra shit. Mm-hmm. And like Titanfall 2 had a system where you could buy premium currency credits to unlock shit early, permanently, or unlock it even if you prestiged, right?
Right.
That seems like a great system for extra money if people, because like it's not like it's necessarily quote unquote unbalanced because all the guns exist in the game, and I'm pretty sure in Titanfall 2 multiplayer you can pick other people's guns up off the ground if they drop them when they die. So like it's not like you're necessarily breaking balance. You're not paying to win. It's just you get access to shit a little early, which people might kill you and steal from you because you don't know what you're doing. Or you're unlocking things permanently even if you prestige so you can keep using your favorite guns. But, like, I feel like that was the original Skinner box, right? That was the original video game trick, was progression. That's how games like WoW got you, was like, oh, I need levels, I need items, I need new gear slots, I need best in slot, and also you need gold, But, like, that's how old school shooters do it, and, like, the free-to-play model is, like, it feels really fragile because you really have to hook the audience. You gotta get a captive audience right away, and not every game is gonna do it. Fortnite, I think, only does it because of their crossovers. Like, I think they started by having appeal for, like, they were the better, more accessible battle royale to do it, right, when that was popular. But Fortnite has stayed popular because that's the only video game where you can have literal Chapel Roan fight Johnny Silverhand, Or like, you can give, Vegeta an AK, right? It's goofy, it's dumb, but it instantly has market appeal, And that's, I think, like, why Fortnite's still around, like, and other games are not. And I think somebody at Highguard thought they had the shit. They thought they were like, this gameplay loop is really cool, and we've got, character designs that are, like, all are actually distinct. Like, it's pretty easy to visually recognize every hero at a distance and be like, oh, it's that guy. I can't tell you what that guy's fucking name is, but I know it's that guy. I know it's Ice Guy. I know it's Portal Woman. It's Bird Girl. It's that annoying motherfucker with the electric sticks. I'm sorry, chat. Nobody likes when a guy throws a shocky stick at you and it sticks in a wall and shocks you. That's a very, very annoying power archetype. So, like, Cloakers and Payday 2 for the meme.
I just heard the sound in my head!
I know. You got it. You hear it. Elemental Plane of Cops. So, like, that's the thing where I'm like, I'm not concerned that Marathon's gonna flame out on just, like, fatigue for these kinds of games, because I think they have the sauce. It is Bungie. They will make good gameplay. Their art team is going fucking insane. They've got the stuff to pull people in, and they've got the chops for people to go, oh, I recognize that. I've already seen people joking about, like, there are references to, like, Destiny 2 guns. They're like, oh, so MIDA, M-I-D-A, is like, that's a Destiny reference? And it's like, no, funny. That's a reference from Marathon that they put in Destiny. You know, like, there's legacy there to appeal to people that I don't think Highguard had, and it's really interesting. I also want to say, I do feel like, because, like, some people might not interpret this way, I think that Highguard's, like, probable failure, not guaranteed, not absolute, but probable failure, is a big indictment against AI. Why do I say that? Highguard had real-ass artists on it. As far as we know, because people were picking apart every little thing about this video game. They did not use Gen AI at all in this project. If they did, somebody would have figured it out and yelled about it on the internet. I haven't heard shit about it, right?
Right.
Everything they did was made by human artists, but seemed to lack a single cohesive artistic vision. You know, like I said, it is that ArtStation core thing of just like they just found like 5 or 10 concept artist portfolios that liked an ArtStation and went, you, and you. Draw me some maps. Okay, we'll model them in Unreal. Boom, done. Like, you know, they moved on. And if I am painting Highguard unfairly, I do apologize. Right? Like, if you worked on Highguard and you're out of a job and you go to listen to your favorite podcast, Let's Talk FGO, and you hear me talking shit and you were like, man, that's not how the art design went. I'm sorry, but that's how it feels to the consumer. I'm not clicking that button. I am not doing that. People at home, imagine your own Cloaker sound.
I am literally making a soundboard clip for the Cloaker Nose right now.
Oh boy, real terror, real fear. But no fear, little fear. God, the Rebirth games, your FF7 remakes are so good. Anyway, like I said, Highguard feels like they did not have a cohesive art direction, and they didn't have enough thing to make it, like, properly unique. They probably just went, well, Destiny is, like, space fantasy. We can do that too, right? Right?
Wrong.
No, I don't think you can. It doesn't seem like you're going to do it. It doesn't seem like you're going to pull it off. Like I said, it's probable. And the reason why I say I think this is an indictment against AI in video game design is because AI can't do singular, cohesive artistic vision. AI just makes what you prompt in it and then is done, right?
And it uses basically a law of averages as well.
Yeah,
so.
it kind of smudges everything together based on vaguely what you inputted, and if you give it the same prompt again, it will do something completely new from the ground up. It will probably be similar to the last thing it made because that's how the models work, but it will not give you the exact same thing. Well, you cannot ask AI currently to be like, okay, give me concept art number 4, but like 20% zoomed out or 50% zoomed in. It has to draw your prompt from step 1 again, right? So, like, people are like, oh, AI will solve everything. It's like, no, you can't, at this step anyway, you're not going to get Gen AI to make cohesive, singular artistic vision, like, not without a lot of artists also working to cover it up, but also I think that, you know, like, people will figure it out. Like, then they feel lied to, which is like, people do not like that. People do not like it when they feel lied to, even if they're not actually lied to. That is an unpleasant experience that humans have, is feeling like you have been deceived. It makes you feel like a fool, and that is one of those things that I think is a pretty universal human experience. People don't like that shit. That's when they get mad. So, like I said, I had a whole long step on this, and my conclusion was a tweet, which was like, 60-hour Gold Eagles, baby. Like, those were the games that I played when I was younger, when I had proper unlimited free time to just be like, do whatever. And it's like, yeah, no, like, that's the model that kept me going. And that's something we've talked about before, that, like, progression is really important. That makes or breaks a lot of roguelikes, and can make or break a lot of multiplayer games, because, like, that is, like I said, the original Skinner box, the original game theory idea is because the game is like, oh, you played our video game for a little bit? It's a little treat. It's a little treat. Have a little gold. Have a little thing. Your bar go up. And when the bar finishes, you go, it's finished. And it becomes empty, and you're like, my bar's empty. Like, that's deep-seated psychology tricks. Games don't do that the same way anymore. Like, sometimes you have bar fill up, but a lot of it I feel like is based on, like, a different kind of, like, fundamental human flaw, which is, like, FOMO, usually. They're like, oh, you need to buy bundle now. If you don't buy this skin, it's going away. You don't know when it's going to come back. You might not be able to be Master Chief in Fortnite again, ever. Give us real money now. Like, that's where a lot of games figure out. And obviously, like, some of them are kind of, like, with, like, the surprise mechanics, the loot boxing thing that, like, Overwatch got in trouble for, but was still kind of based on the fundamental rule of bar go up. Bar go up, fill, get a loot box. Yay. Open loot box. Get a skin. Get the 5th copy of this fucking skin. Throw the controller. Go back home. Get another loot box. I don't actually think that Fortnite is that cancerous. Like, it's just like, it's a game that's built on a model that's not for me, and I've personally, like, I think missed my window on, like I said, I would not want to give Epic Games money, necessarily. Not even to be Johnny Silverhand. Probably not even to be Solid Snake, if that's real. Like, I can't think of any, I don't make enough money where there's any skin in Fortnite that I think is funny enough to give them money for, right? Even as much as I do admit that I think some combos are funny, because they want you to be like, and like, my problem is I didn't get into Fortnite when it was new, and now you have to have been playing Fortnite like 2 years ago to free-to-play afford some of this shit. And I'm just like, I've missed my window, I'm fine. Like, because I'll say that. I don't think that Fortnite is necessarily, like, sauceless the same way Highguard is. Their sauce is borrowed. They've got a borrowed sauce. But a brand name sauce is like, just because the restaurant serves some shit they bought at the store doesn't mean it's bad.
Man, that just reminded me. I went to a great-ass restaurant the other day. I might talk about that a little bit, because it's funny.
I think I'm, other than comments from chat about, like, Fortnite specifically, I think I've wound down. So if you want to talk about that, because I'd love to, I'm going to pivot to you to talk about Starsector anyway.
Yeah, I'll talk about Starsector in a little bit. But no, guys, the other day I went to an interesting place. So once in a while, me and my friend, we go on like a super late night, Taco Bell run. We're like, it's 9 p.m. We hate ourselves. It's like, man, it's time for some fucking Taco Bell. So we go down to our local Taco Bell because, why spend like $10 with the delivery fee when, my friend has a car? Fucking use it. And we're sitting in the drive-thru. It's a long-ass drive-thru. Apparently, we were not the only ones hating ourselves that night. Funny that. And I look over into the distance and literally brought up at one of the, oh god, I don't even know what to call them, like, strip malls. Just the line of stores.
Yeah, that is a strip mall. Some people don't remember those, but they still exist.
Yeah. I see a brightly lit neon sign, and it says, Sumo, all you can eat. And I'm just all like, what? Because, like, another thing that me and my friend like to do is we like to go, like, to all you can eat buffets, because how better to, cement how much you hate yourself than filling yourself with shit you probably really shouldn't. But it was, like, a little small place, and I'd never seen the place before. It was, like, super new. Well, it probably wasn't super new, but it had not been there for at least, like, it only gotten there, like, in the last year, I would say. So, I looked it up, and apparently, it's a very interesting place. I sent my friend on reconnaissance, and I was like, man, you go see if this place is cool or not. I don't want to go. And he did, and he came back and was like, man, this place is actually pretty rad. So, it is a buffet, but instead of being like one of those giant ass buffets with like, like the long ass tables of, food and hot trays and, way too many fucking people. No, it's actually a very small restaurant with a lot of like intimate, like, I want to say intimate, but like small dining spaces. Like, instead of having like tables where you can fit like, 4 to 6 people, it's like maybe 2 to 3 at best. And while they do have a walk-up buffet, it's like really small. There's only like a few things. You get like chicken skewers, gyoza, and maybe a few noodles. That's it. It's like 5 things you can get, and they have a dessert on the other side. The main way you get food is you scan a QR code with your app. I mean, you skew with your phone to get the app, and you place your orders on the phone. Now, like I said, it's an all-you-can-eat buffet. So the way they do this is when you're sat down, you're given an hour and a half. Every 15 minutes, you can order 15 things from the store. And this is the thing I really liked. They had things like gyudon, they had takoyaki, they had various rounds of sushi. I discovered that I love avocado rolls, by the way, from this restaurant. I'm going to double down on those. Those are super fucking tasty. But like a lot of Japanese food and stuff. And what happens is when you order it, they prepare it, and then they put it on a bot, and the bot takes it to your table, and you take it from the bot. Like I posted the picture of it, but you remember Kerfer from Voices of the Void? From Chase Video? It's that bot. Because I actually looked this up, Kerfer and Voices of the Void was based off those robot, but it's not actually called Kerfer. It has a different name. I can't remember the fucking actual name of it, but I'm just always gonna remember it as Kerfer because it's a cat-faced robot that is very happy to bring you your food. And oh god, it was like, and the best thing about it is the problem I always have with like going to buffets is a problem I'll always have when I'm eating and stuff. The common saying, my eyes are bigger than my stomach. The portions they actually give you are actually like pretty fucking small, and so like. And because you can only order 15 minutes, you have time that you eat and you have to wait for the food to like settle and be like, am I still hungry? No, I'm not. It's time to get out of here. The only problem was there were so many interesting things. I'm like, man, I keep ordering because I want to keep trying different things. Like, oh god, it's so good. Like, it's one of those, like, it's such a novel dining experience that I'm for. And it's like, I know some people would be mad, like, oh, they're taking away servers' jobs. I'm like, no, there were still human people doing stuff and bringing food. It's just that, they had a bot, deliver, like, things quickly so you wouldn't have to wait for, a server to load up a tray of, like, 30 fucking things and bring it to you all at once.
Also, I'm gonna be honest. While I have not worked food service, I know lots of stories about it. Nobody likes to load up a heavy tray and carry food to the table.
No. So
there's a reason why food service is considered one of the shitty entry-level jobs to get.
So, like, yeah, no, like, the chefs in the back would just make it. They put it on a little dish. They put it on the bot. The bot brings it out and tells you, "Hey, your food's here. Please grab it from this tray." And the tray lights up, and you're like, "Be careful." It was also amazing. Apparently, that robot has a fucking birthday routine in it. If it's someone's birthday, they'll actually sing you "Happy Birthday." I'm like, "Ah, shit, I'm coming back here for my birthday. I want a robot to sing "Happy Birthday" to me." Like, it was so good. Like I don't know, like, how to explain, like, the joy of it, of, like, having, like, and like I say, even though it's a buffet, like, because, everything's being handmade, it's, like, actually, like, and it's not, like, being made in mass quantities, it's actually very good quality, like, because the small portions, good quality, and, like I said, you get 15 free, like, every 15 minutes. I'm like, no, this is amazing. Like, I'm gonna see if I can take my other friends to it and, like, have this moment, but, like I said, it's one of those things, like, I definitely know why it's called, like, sumo all you can eat, because even if it's only, like, 15 small items, that shit adds up. Especially if, like, it's only, like, one or two people. Like, if you got, like, 3 or 4 people there, 15 items probably isn't that much. That's, like, 4 items per person, and, like I said, they're pretty small. But, it was good. I'm like, I was happy to go there, and I want to go again. It was a little pricey. I think it was, like, $30 for, like, dinner. But like I said, like, if I wanted to, like, stretch out the fucking time, I could, like, you can definitely get your money's worth there. So I'm glad to see, like, such things in our modern times. It feels like little things like that is what feels like the future, having automated servers. I think it's neat. Yes, no, also fast food work is generally better than being a server in a restaurant. Fast food actually has more limited customer interaction. Like, yeah, you deal with, like, the drive-thru and the stuff, but it's harder to cause shit. Like, I know I say that, and you see plenty of videos of people starting fights in fast food restaurants, but trust me, like, there's way more confrontations in food service. Oof.
That is, one of the reasons why there are jokes about the Waffle House is, in addition to the staying open in disaster areas, the staff at Waffle Houses are known to not give a fuck.
Yeah.
I bet they hire you not to give a shit. You start some shit in a Waffle House, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, also, I'll say this, chat saying fast food works better than being a server. Like, depending on what you're doing in the fast food than waitering, like, both are kind of, there's a limited amount of career progress. Like, you might go from waiter to, like, a senior maitre d' and, like, taking stuff, but, like, there's only so much job progression in just take orders, get food, move food.
Well, apparently, what you gotta do in today's market is you're supposed to only work in certain jobs for a limited time, and then quit your job, and then move on to a better job. Well, vertical integration is apparently out.
That is kind of what I've heard. And also, like, you can't be too good at your previous jobs or at your education before moving on to an entry-level job, because then it's like, oh, you're obviously overqualified. We can't hire you. You're just gonna leave.
It's wild.
The job market's probably pretty fucked, but
I'm still looking for a job. I'm looking for a job. It's not working. It's not working. It's not helping it. Okay,
but,
so
Starsector.
I'm playing it right now with mods. So yeah, I got Starsector still makes me mad. It makes me mad in a way that makes me want to play more Starsector.
That kind of mad.
Yeah. But, so, like I said, I've been playing it a lot. Like I said, I've been putting in a lot of mods. Like I said, when you actually feel comfortable enough, I think I can actually give you a good short list of mods that I think opens up the game enough, without being too crazy. I'm not
I'll
actually...
definitely ask about that. To give my quick 2 cents, chat, I did also, I said, I think previously that I would reward myself with Starsector for completing all my extra workload for Richard out of nowhere. And RE6 did get put back down on discount to be $5, so I spent the other $15 on Starsector.
Yay!
And I have been playing it off and on this week, along with Neo 1. Don't have much to report there either. Made it to the second boss. She's fast. She's a fast lady.
She gets stab.
But I'm still working on my game sense of Starsector, getting a feel for the I played all my tutorials, I'm getting a feel for my basic systems, so I'm like, then I'm going to be like, okay, now I'm going to go crazy.
Crazy.
I've already heard some stories from Lucky, some of which I think you said on like the 14 stream, maybe. So like you've already done some crazy things pre-mod.
Oh yeah. Like Starsector is something I appreciate. Starsector is a game that gives you like a lot of resolutions to problems you might not necessarily think of. Like I haven't encountered any colony crises in the modded game because I'm using what's it called? Nexalin? I'm not sure that's how it's pronounced, but Nexalin. Basically, it turns Starsector into a 4X game, in which the factions will actually, do 4X things at each other. They'll actually wage war and wage war and stuff. Fun fact, I've played 2 modded games. I've lost both of them because apparently the Ludic Church just likes doing diplomacy and fast tracks it every time and wins the game within 3 years. Before even your fucking, your stipend from the academy will run out, they'll win the game. I'm like, Jesus.
Damn.
Yeah. So, but fortunately, it's not one of those situations where they win the game and the game, quits the desktop. You can keep going on, and it's like, okay, cool, whatever. Because what I like doing right now is I don't actually like if you install the Nexalin mod, you can give yourself a starting colony. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to control where I put my first colony. Which makes things a little bit harder because I don't have a source of income in the backline, which usually means I get a commission from one of the factions, which will let me set up some colonies, but they're going to be colonies under their jurisdiction. I'm like, that's fine. Thinking. Oh god, where was I going with this? Sorry, I'm trying to backtrack. Nexalin, makes it 4X, and it makes it a lot more dynamic. There's invasions going on, raidings going on, blockades going on, trade missions, aid missions, all that stuff. And you can interfere with that. You can, partake in, blockades of systems. You can go raiding. You can help in invasions, ground battles. It's a lot of stuff. And, I like what they did with the, commission system. In the base game, commission system is actually a little overpowered, in my opinion. It's you get, several, tens of thousands of credits based upon your level for your commission. With Nexalin, they reworked that so that you actually you start at a base level and you have to do jobs for the faction you do to increase your level in it, which gives you additional perks and benefits, but also increases your cash more and more. I think you start off it starts off way weaker than the base game commissioning, but ends up way stronger. The only problem is the higher you go up in commission ranks, the more you have to work to keep at it, which I think is actually quite fun. It's a difficulty spike that I enjoy, which I think is the important thing. Sometimes when things are hard for no reason being hard, it's dumb. But if things are hard so you can have a grid reward at the end, I usually think that's a good balance.
Well, and especially if there's a difficulty curves are important.
Yes.
Hell, a difficulty curve can be fine if it's just a straight line. It just has to be a line in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Right now, the faction I'm sticking with is TT because I'm doing phase ships and drone automation. Because another mod that I picked up was a second in command, which completely overhauls the skills you get in Starsector. Instead of you having to pick between all your skills and combat and one screen, instead the only skills that you pick for yourself are combat, and then you get 3 executive officers who level up along with you, and they have different skills in different areas, and it's a much bigger tree. Like in the base game, it's just like command, industry, leadership, and combat, leadership, industry, and what was the blue one? I don't remember what it was. But it was like energy, shield based, and kind of all that stuff. And you had to pick between all that stuff. This system has like way more. Like they have like technical, engineering, scavenging, automation, piracy, warfare, strikecraft, small craft. It's like it's much better for getting, if you can find the officers, because you can get one for free if you like enable it in the mod. But if you have to go out and find the executive officers, usually trapped in a fucking cryopod somewhere or on a station somewhere to find them. And like I said, they have way more interesting abilities. Like scavenging unlocks a new system called the scrap system, in which when you salvage things, you get scrap. It does not actually it doesn't actually fill up any of your cargo space, but you can only hold so much of it. And a lot of what the scavenging tree does is you can spend scrap to do things. Like you can use scrap to empower your emergency burn or your I just forgot what it's fucking called. What's the opposite of emergency burn here? Where you go super fucking slow and they're hidden. Hang on. Go dark. Excuse me. There you go.
Go dark. Yes.
It was go dark.
Go
dark. The one that I like to use is use 30% of your scrap for immediate action right before you go into battle. It gives your ships a bit of repair. It ups their combat readiness and it gives them a armor buff. It's really great for when you're caught off fucking guard and you're like, oh! Which happens sometimes. The other one I'm super excited for is automation. You basically they changed up how automation works with the skill system too. Like now you don't have now getting drones in like a N tier thing. You can get them in various trees. Like salvaging lets you get a little bit of drones. Automation gets you drones right off the bat. I think technical gets you some drones as well. But you can like play around with drone feats a lot more. And like, oh god, it's like I've got like basically what I did is I found a Reddit post that says that's basically what mods I should get. And I looked through the list because the problem with the mod index and the mod forum is entirely way too much information. Too much information. I do not know where to look. I'm just staring at it going, I don't know what to look at. Like I started clicking some mods. Here's a horrible thing about a lot of mods. Mods don't actually have descriptions. They just had a picture and be like, yeah, download here. And I'm just like, what does it do? Here's the change log.
Shit.
I'm just like, and it's just like, and here's the change log. It's just like, or they'll give like a very high level of stuff of what things. I'm just like, But no, this Reddit post was a godsend, and because it basically gave a brief overview of what each mod done. I was like, oh, okay. Like I haven't really played with any ship or faction mods here because again, I'm still trying to get a handle of what I want to do and stuff. And
yeah,
I have heard.
As cool as those mods sound like, I would not want to start by adding like new ship classes because I'm like, I've seen like maybe a dozen ship types. Maybe, like a couple different frigates, some different some of them are differently shaped, but like, a few vaguely defined ship classes. And it's like, yeah, I wouldn't know what to do if I added ships in. I guess I would just be for the aesthetics. Faction stuff I've seen can get a little wild too.
No, especially the problem is when you start adding factions and ships, that really starts eating up your RAM. So it can really slow down your game if you're not careful. So, but no, I'm liking what's happening so far here. But no, there's just something I like about space exploration and logistics. Because like we talk about, the game is very thin. You have to maintain your supplies, you have to maintain your fuel, and you have to try to not let your ships get blown up in the meantime. So you gotta make sure you have, proper ship loadouts and whatnot. I still don't know if I'm doing things right with my ship builds. Right now I'm going for a very energy-focused base, picking up a lot of perks on that, getting a lot of lasers, which I think are fun. Usually Lucky is a missile guy, but unfortunately in this game, missiles are limited are limited. They're limited ammo, which, makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
But it's one of those things of some battles take a while, and if all my ships are just nothing but missiles, we're going to have some fucking problems.
No, I haven't gone completely. I will say, I talked about this with you in the pre-show, my point of comparison for, top-down space games is, Escape Velocity, where, by the way, I would also avoid ordnance because I had to pay for more missiles to put them in the racks, and you can only hold so many in reserve. But like that. Those are all like you control your one ship primarily, and you can get some computer escorts, or like could hypothetically get a ship that has like fighter bays installed and launch AI fighters. But it was usually like one main ship. The way Starsector is, it's much more in on the fleet stuff, and like honestly, manually controlling ships is pretty clunky.
Oh, I just AI battle everything.
Yeah, no. So I'm just like, no. I just play, fleet commander in the CIC and push buttons, and I let the auto figure itself out. And I do gotta say, I do really like some of the stuff they've shown, like the way that like, oh yeah, point defense lasers, set those to auto fire. Yeah, they'll just automatically intercept missiles that get too close, and I'm just like, yes, point defense, good. But yeah, like if you're in for a game where you want, daring do of personally flying, I don't think this game is that. If you want a game where your ramshackle fleet of a couple frigates and carriers and maybe 5 or 6 combat freighters you've scavenged from the dark fly around your enemies, yeah.
The only problem I think I have with the mods right now, I think Second in Command took out my literal favorite skill from the base game, which was I can't remember what it was, but it was basically at the end of the entity tree. Basically, over time, your ships would just lose their D mods. I've seen some discussions. People are like, oh, D mods are perfectly fine. I'm like, yeah, cool. I don't like my ships being scarred. I want them nice and fixed. I want them pretty. So I am a little sad about losing that, but there are other mods I have. I think the one that I am currently using right now, was it Progressive? Was it Ship Mastery? Yeah, Ship Mastery is actually pretty fun, because basically the more you use a ship type, it levels up, and as the ship class levels up, you get little perks, which lets you put on more S mods, and it has little other bonuses like, decreasing the amount it costs to, restore the ship and stuff. Because restoring the ship is basically buying the ship all over again, except it has no D mods on it, which is nice because, trust me, sometimes you don't like having fucking, compromised ship armor, and all that stuff on there. But I think that the maker of Second in Command is one of those people who are like, nah, D mods are fine, man. You can play with D mods. I'm like, but what if I don't want to play with D mods? I'm just like, then don't use my mod. I'm like, oh, okay.
The modding is a very fun, very cool tool, but then you have to get into not just the psychology of the guy who made the video game, but then the psychology of the guy who makes mods, and the guy who makes the mod for the mod, and the guy who makes a mod that's not compatible with that guy's mod because those two guys actually hate each other and shit like that. Like, when you start to get into modding, you involve a lot more of extra people into the discussion, and some stuff is really cool and also can be funny. Like, I know that the boys have talked about some some different mods you can do for like different ships and stuff. I'm sure you can get like, Imperium from 40K battle barges and like Star Destroyers and shit if you look
honestly
hard enough.
I've been looking at it. I don't know how active like the modding community for Starsector is. It's like, I don't know, like some of these posts and stuff are like from like a couple years ago and stuff.
The game seems fairly spaced out. I think they got a big surge because there were a couple of YouTube videos about it. Seth Zinch being one of them. I think it's Cotton Loth onto it. I know there's a few different people who post like games about it, and like even before Aaron brought up that he was playing it again, that kind of put it all in our current thought space. I'd seen like a handful of like video clips like on YouTube or on Twitter, or like people posting Twitter screenshots of something and being like, "Oh, what's this? Oh yeah, it's Starsector." So like there's a little bit of a community around there, but yeah, they're not like super big. It's a neat game.
Oops. I don't know if I really have much more to talk about Starfighter. I can gush on it, but I don't think I have like, what's the word I want to use? Points to talk about it,
That's fair. I mean, listen, we've been going for about 4 hours now. 4:20 actually. So we can wind it in. We will probably continue to chat about Starsector. Like I said, I'm still getting my game sense, still getting the basic issue of like I said, trying to balance out the like how much value does this good need to be worth for me to actually think it's worth, buying and selling? If it's only like a 10 credit swing, that shit's not worth it. Trust me, I've checked. Mm-hmm. And then like figuring out opportunities to salvage more spaceships and get more free stuff. So it's a fun time, so we'll keep working at it. Like, this is absolutely, like, the game aesthetically is very much my jam, both in the way that it's, like, set up and the kind of stuff going on in it. So I'll keep it in mind and probably keep poking it off and on as I weave in and out of other video games. Sorry, scratching my neck, itchy neck. Okay. I think that's about everything I had. I did want to briefly mention, it's not like urgent news, but something that has been coming out lately is free streaming service Tubi, which does a variety of different stuff. Apparently has acquired the rights to a shitload of classic Cartoon Network stuff.
Yeah.
They will start circulating on March 1st. We're talking Courage the Cowardly Dog, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Static Shock, which is actually, I think, was WB originally, but ended up on Cartoon Network at some point. Loads and loads and loads of old school cartoons that have kind of been let go because HBO Max and shit didn't think they were worth distributing, I guess, and people don't want to keep paying royalties on or whatever. And other services are like, I'll take it, it's mine. So that's good news as a lot of stuff disappears off the internet. Yeah, it's a crazy amount of shows. I've been retweeting news all week. I have to stop though because my Twitter algorithm is getting real fucked up because some outlets are tweeting like one show at a time, and I'm like, no, brother, I get it. I do like Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. You don't need to tell me that. Couldn't kicks his door. It's good stuff. Good shit. Shit we talk about. Ugh. But other than that, I think we can wind her up in. Well, I said tomorrow. For some of you, it will be tomorrow. For some of you, it will be today. On Saturday, we will be enjoying our great Valentine's Day by watching the greatest love story, Star Wars Episode 2: Attack of the Clones.
This sounds like a horrible love story.
That's the part that people usually don't like. It will be interesting to dive back in and actually look at the movie and like see it kind of like with fresh eyes for the first time in years. We talked about this a lot when we watched Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace isn't actually that bad. I think there are some things that could have used some editing passes and maybe like a better actor director.
I'm still laughing about the part of, fucking Darth Maul lands on the planet. Next scene, Qui-Gon Jinn and Anakin are running away. Here he comes! They're like, what?
Yeah, like, some of the transitions are way too fast, and some of the scene transitions are way too slow because somebody, probably George Lucas, because I think he had complete creative control by the time of Phantom Menace, like, inserted a Jar Jar gag, and I'm just like, we didn't need it. Like, I don't feel the visceral hate. Oh, I don't think I ever felt the visceral hate a lot of people felt for Jar Jar. I did think Jar Jar was kind of dumb as a kid, but I didn't like hate his guts or anything.
Yeah.
But I definitely like watching the movie a fresh time, I should say. I've watched it more than twice, but watching it as a fresh time as an adult, I'm like, okay, Jar Jar's funny sometimes, but like we go back to that well way too much, right? Like we just every time we need a comedic beat, it's always Jar Jar, and it's like, no, George, you don't understand. Like, the droids were funny, but, like, that was, like, an alternating thing. You, like, switched off. Sometimes C-3PO would do something funny. Sometimes R2 would do something funny. Honestly, a great gag character back in the day was Chewbacca, right? Like, he was great at, like, subtle gags. Fucking putting C-3PO head on backwards. You know he did that shit on purpose.
Oh, he definitely did that shit on purpose.
You walking cop, but you put my head on backwards. But yeah, no, every time you would pause to let a scene breathe, George was like, the scene can't breathe. We need a joke here. I want the kids to laugh. And like, we talked about this. Anakin feels really weird as, like, a 9-year-old. Like, I think if he was 12, that might add to the Jedi Council's, like, he's too old decision a little more. And, like I said, Padme's supposed to be, like, 14 or 15, I think. Like, a immediate preteen to somebody in their early to mid-teens is not as weird. Like, it's something you wouldn't bat an eye at that hard. And I think it makes his, like, strong skill set a little more believable because he's, like, good at flying, he's good at fixing. He's a stone cold Rizzler.
The Rizzler.
Oh, he fucking opens up with, "Are you an angel?" And I'm like, you've got too much game for a 9-year-old kid. But like Jake Lloyd honestly tries. It's just like I said, George Lucas I don't think knows how to direct people like very well to like get their exact feelings out, and definitely I don't think he knows how to direct kids. So like sometimes Anakin's out there with nothing. Like he's just like, man, I'm 9. I don't know what to do. But
Sometimes
like that climax, that like 4 lines no waiting with Duel of the Fates. Ooh, it's still so good.
No, fucking the climax of A Phantom Menace, I think, is actually really good with the Jedi duel, the fucking space battle, the ground battle.
Yeah, like and then Padme Gear Solid. Like
yes,
all the
that's
CG
right.
also looked real good.
Yeah.
Like no, it's like it's very good. So like Attack of the Clones is the one everybody dreads, and it's like that's gonna be one that's interesting to watch with fresh eyes. Anyway, join our movie night. Join us on Discord. consider liking, commenting, and subscribing to this video. Like I said, if you've got a favorite Valentine scene from this year's batch of FGO Valentines, leave us a comment down below, or you can yap about it on the Discord. It'll be a little bit before our next Wanted comes out, but check that out. We will hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, the servers don't break, but we'll be back to trying to stream RE6 on Monday. We're going to be playing Rain again on Sunday. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
So
I am
be
super
fun.
excited, especially after you did the short fiction. I'm glad
that was kind of the idea. I feel like I got the emotion across.
Yes.
I do like when you typed at some point you were like, man, I feel like we're a bad influence on Aurelia. I didn't get into it because we got distracted by other conversations, but like my thought would be like, I mean, yes, but also she's just trying to be part of the team, man.
Yeah, I know.
This is kind of the whole house vibe.
No, that's why I mean, because I'm looking at it, we're like, you actually mentioned the functions of like, when they were doing, she was fighting, Aurelia doesn't have, like the practice combat training that Loma does, but she has been fighting, new and fresh monstrum, like, every week for like the past half a year, almost.
Yeah, no, I guess I said she's in the past 6 months fought like a dozen different species of monstrum because you guys kind of lead a fucked up life. This is actually a plot point how fucking haunted you guys have been, and like I have said it I think several times out of character that like that's not quite normal. It is also that is just a writing like a character beat I like. I was there was a lot of sword fighting in this short fiction, even only 15 pages, so I had to think about it. So like I needed to compare the two. Paloma Espada is picture perfect. Everything she does is straight out of a fencing manual. She's been fencing since she could read. But she's never been in a fight for her life, ever. Why would she be? She is, the handpicked cavalier for the third princess. You live in a time of, historically, relative peace. Like, she's only 16, so, like, needing to fight for her life is kind of, like, would be weird. It is a little weird that Aurelia, actually, Paloma's, like, 17, but you know what I mean? Like, Aurelia, at 16, has been in a fight for her life a couple of times. That's probably not good. But also, you guys are kind of in the shit. Some of it also is just, like I said, Moira also is a very different teacher. She's like, if you're using a live steel blade, it's not blunted, the fight is for your life. Because if you fuck up, you're gonna die.
No, like, there are several scenes that I wish to come out of this. Some of it would actually probably be very bad for, House Loki's image, but it's a thing.
We'll see how it plays out. We gotta set up
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Like, I have
guys, I weave a wide web, which I kind of like hint at a little in the story, but there's many multiple peoples going on.
No, but
what was your internal panic level when you read the part where Moira fought Marcos Espada?
Very fucking high. Like, actually, you see, like, because like to play like inside baseball, the fact that Paloma and Aurelia had an illegal duel is not the problem. Honestly, like, if that had just happened to be like, oh, well, anyone died? Who won? All right, here's a fine and you're confined to your room for a week. I hope that teaches you. Move on with life. But the fact that... Oh, okay, I guess I'll spoil the fiction a little bit, but I do want to get this thought out. The fact that to this illegal duel, fucking both the Espada siblings showed up, a dozen other Chevaliers, and the fucking, the Marquis itself showed up to this duel, at which point... Moira, defends her fucking charge because I'm sorry, there's no way you're gonna believe that they were not gonna try and basically force the issue with Aurelia. Like, literally.
Yeah, no, there's like, I tried to give, Rodrigo and Anara a little bit of grace, but there are six, one of House Espada's colors is dark red, so there are six literal red shirts show up, so, like, yeah.
No, they were literally going to force, the third in line to capitulate, and if she didn't, by force, that's why they were there. And, and this is backed by, not only, like that, but, the Espada twins and the Marquis himself, who then had to, Moira, God bless her heart, said, nuh-uh, and fought them. No, this is the political ass fucking situation, because, again, the House of Espada, super close with the fucking High King. I don't think, like, this is actually going to come out, like, when Aurelia explains it, because it was definitely an after-the-fact thing, but the fact that also, the Queen shows up with fucking Estelle, like, no, this shit is going fucking crazy, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
Depending how
the queen is like the last person in the cavalcade of idiots to show up and is just like, all right, okay, somebody's got to explain this shit to me and to the king.
No. So, like, again, like, I have, like, a whole bunch of thoughts and ideas and plans that I want to do, but all of this is really really contingent on what the Marquis does. Our Marquis, Leslock does. Because, Axe, as the Marquis, can be like, no, Leslock doesn't want to wake up every Monday. He wants to kind of keep this down low, and he couldn't, like, just try and keep it under the wraps. Or he can, assemble his council and be like, guys, what are we going to do? Like, I don't know. I have, like, different plans for, like...
I mean, I know you say you don't want to predispose anybody. I will say this. Based on my read, I would say that, like, I think that Leslock would probably eventually start consulting people just because that's Axe's nature, and Leslock... I don't want to say he's obsessed with appearances, but Leslock likes appearances. Like, he's tried very hard to seem very, very proper, very appropriate, very above board at all steps, even when that's not the thing he wants to do. Like, that's happened a couple of times.
Like, if things go, poorly, like, I think they may, especially if Espada tries to press a point, I think I want to put in here, you might see Enos mad. Like, actually genuinely mad.
As is usual, the beauty of writing is, like, this moment of, like, you guys are going to get the rough outline of this stuff, which would include the result that, like, Moira crossbraids with Marquez Espada. That's going to be something that just Aurelia's going to tell you when you speak to her. So that's going to come out pretty early. Some of the other details we might have to probe in there, and, like, figuring out the exact sequence of events and circumstance is just going to be kind of, like, that's going to be on you guys to read back later and figure it out. And how much you want to quiz Aurelia on, because she's got well, you guys don't know. She might still have a sword tip in her shoulder.
Yeah. No, so, like,
she Aurelia once again breaks a sword by touching it.
I'm glad
realizes that doing it the second time, not the greatest trick.
I mean, it broke a sword. I always appreciate just the little. I always I know this is me too to my home, but I always appreciate the little Enos mentions in the stories of just Enos being, like, a weird guy, kind of, insisting on, like, the silver ornamentation on her blades. How Enos, had, told her about the technique, but hadn't done it himself, because Aurelia was pretty sure that if he did, he'd be crowing about it for weeks. It's like, oh god, no. Like,
well, because, like, obviously a lot of this is drawn from the character stuff, but, like, Aurelia shattering her stuff. Yeah, Aurelia's well, Aurelia normally has her coin. I didn't explicitly mention it in the narrative. She probably wouldn't have brought the coin with her to the duel. That would be very much against the purpose.
Yeah, I know. About to say she's gonna go have illegal dark in the dark. She doesn't want
I deliberately described her, like, dressing down for stealth. Also doing something I don't think you guys have seen her do a lot in character. She specifically prayed. She asked the Throne of Secrets to shroud her in darkness. But no, like, we've talked about this, right? Like, we have a lot of out-of-character conversations to build on. You have for literal months been like, man, that's gonna be my trick. If somebody gets into a fight with me, I'm just gonna fucking punch his sword apart. I can do that. And so, like, you've been talking about it, and, like, you are Aurelia's soul-crafting mentor. You are her foster brother. You spend a lot of time with her. Absolutely, you would have, like, you were the first one who suggested she learn Shatter the Soul, like, really early, I'm pretty sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, one of the first spells she picked up. So, like, absolutely, you would have talked about that with her. Like, that would be, and I like the idea of, like, no, you guys have been theory crafting this shit in lessons. Aurelia's gotten into a couple of one-on-one fights because that's not actually Enos' scene. So she's actually gotten a chance to try it out. Aurelia makes mention of her other brothers as well. They're kind of, like, all kind of there. Also, Sending Wave is not attuned. It's not actually attuned. I don't know if I've reversed that back and forth, but it's in the document. I double-checked. It's not attuned right now. It does require the specific materials, and you got to be a Veiler, though, to do it. I admit, I've swapped back and forth on the balance of some spells being attuned versus not attuned, mostly because of what I think will be cool. I think it started as attuned, but I switched it back pretty good. That'd be a good one to teach her. I mean, that could have solved some of these literally, before the fight, that could have solved these problems. Aurelia could have just gone, hey, let's, like, wake up. The top of this castle wall is getting real freaky. I know. I want to get my little smiley face on and like ask, but I'm like, I know you thought it was cool when Lady White showed up for a little bit at the end.
Oh no, I thought it was great. Like, cause it was one of those things of, like, I like the fact that Aurelia tried to, get out and have a little duel, and I think both Moira and Lady White had the same idea of, like, like this shit, yeah, it's, it's illegal dueling, but also, it's youth. You gotta let the kids get out there, do stuff. Until it was not just, kids doing stuff. And then they're like both like, all right, no.
Yeah. And like Lady White is obviously like, okay, all right, buddy. I mean, she literally rhymes. She's like, if an adult game of cat and mouse you wish to play, then I will have to enter the fray.
No, it was like, no, like, again, like, God, I need to find a way for Enos to become closer with Moira as well, because Moira's pretty ride or die. Like, it's, yeah, we pay her, and she says she's dead, but like, she's done a lot.
Have I shared her duty before? I think her duty is she's got to teach, she's got to help these kids.
I remember you saying it was something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's the paraphrase, but like that's actually like what her high level character is like. She thinks that her mission in life is like she's got to look out for you guys. Like she looks out the most for Aurelia because that's where you've put her, and because Aurelia is still as we have discussed in the fiction a couple of times, Aurelia's kind of undergoing her transitional arc to be like more of a person and like have skills that she needs to look out for herself in life. I think it was Crow as your Red Market's character.
Yeah.
So like she's working on Aurelia because like Aurelia said, she's been taught knife fighting for self-defense, which is pretty normal, but she literally has picked up a sword for like half a year maybe. Moira, really good at teaching you very pointed lessons, and not afraid to teach Aurelia to play for keeps, as evidenced by the fact that Aurelia used the fact that she was in an illegal duel to her advantage, and just elbow-checked and cold-cocked Paloma a couple of times. Aurelia has like 1 or 2 dice in fight, so like it didn't go anywhere. It was not a good punch, but she got a punch in. Like, and yes, I am trying to showcase that Moira is terrifyingly good at interpersonal combat. You've seen it in roleplay, you've seen it in rolling dice, you've seen it in fiction. If you ever have an opportunity to arrange a 1v1, Moira's a really good person to go for it if you want to win. Like, I once again get to use my beautiful metaphors. I went back to a few of my Storm ones. I'm especially fond of the description of Aurelia has to correct herself and go, oh no, Marquess Espada's swordsmanship is perfect. There are no notes. It is exactly what it needs to be every time, and she almost has the fucking anime thing of being like, she can't even I can't even follow his moves with my eyes. He's just doing poses and forms and katas. How does Moira fight? She's just like, formlessness. She's chaos in motion. You might call her swordsmanship sloppy, but that would be a mistake. She's just, every single motion she is constantly adjusting. And then that's a great transpose when Aurelia gets injured and Moira actually freezes stock still. Actually, I'll mention it. I don't know, hopefully people caught it. I switched my language there. I stopped talking about Moira as a storm and started talking about her with mechanical metaphors. It's only 15 pages, but I put a lot of subtle artistry in there. There's a lot of little things and like little moments. I hope I didn't. Well, we'll see if we get a few more readers. I hope I didn't mention, the cloudy sky moving over the moon too much. But it was like, it's a cloudy night and there's a waxing moon. I feel like it's important. Also, Aurelia cheats and she has night vision. Like that's another thing that I just to be like, yeah, no, she's attuned. She's got dark vision. It doesn't matter if the moon's blocked up. She can still fucking see. Mm-hmm. I don't want you guys to be like terrified because we got like a lot of like I said, I tried to leave room for grace in this. That like I didn't want to just, despite the fact that I know that out of character, Lucky suggested it, and a few of you are like prepped for it. I don't want to just like out of character be like, Mahaha, my evil plan. You are now in a blood war with House Espada.
We could be, though.
You could be, if you guys really want to go that way. But I want to leave it so that, like, that is a possibility. Like, if you guys decide to go down the path of anger and get heated about this kind of clusterfuck, like, it would be like, gotta get in there. Well, luckily,
like
your fiance, Leslok, is not related to House Espada. Yeah, it's the main line that's related, which that's Eidos' drama. Your patron was there.
Yeah, like I said, but like I said, if/when Eidos finds out that they were going to strong arm Aurelia into losing, Eidos is going to be very mad. Eidos doesn't like dueling. Like it's one of those things. He thinks it's, actually somewhat barbaric. Like, instead of using, smarts or skills or anything, you decide to prove arguments by violence, and fake violence at that. You basically, dart in, cut someone once, and say, "Oh, I win. I'm right. You're wrong." He finds that very stupid. So,
with Moira more, because I think Moira simultaneously also thinks dueling is very stupid, but if you were like, but the violence is fake, and she would actually be like, Enos, you don't understand how much restraint it takes me to not fucking kill people.
And Enos would say, because yes, if you kill people, you'd be a very bad duelist.
I'm just picturing Moira's face. She would just look you dead in the eyes and be like, "No, Enos, I'd be a murderer."
Yeah. Bad duelist.
That is interesting to your thought. That would be, Enos would conflate them in mind, but it's like, like Moira's not afraid to kill people, but also she understands that, like, killing people is not the only solution to life. Not even beating people is the only solution to life. Like, she's learned a few harsh lessons, which is why she shows incredible restraint. And, like, again, there's a moment in the narrative where she, like, does a textbook intercept and strikes a guy's wrist, and she actually hesitates. Like, she probably winced because she was like, "Oh, I meant to do that with the flat, but I didn't have enough time. I cut that guy's wrist with the edge. That's gonna be a serious injury."
Yeah.
And not that she necessarily caused about causing that guy pain. It's just like, oh, that's a real one I just did to that guy.
Yeah. No, because Enos, I think the best way to say this, Enos is a bad duelist. Enos, though, is an amazing killer, and that's why he draws a line in dueling. And so,
I think there's a lot of, like, cultural stuff to go through. Like, there's. Honestly, you should probably talk to the Crown Prince about this sort of thing. He'd probably have some thoughts
about what specifically.
Dueling. He is not a duelist, but he knows how to fence and spar, obviously. And, like, the tournament is very different from a duel.
Oh yeah, no, a tournament, like, Enos finds the tournament like a sport. Because you're not using the dueling there to win an argument. Because that's, like, specifically what Enos finds dumb, is when you use dueling to solve an argument, to say, "I'm right and he's wrong because I have a better sword arm than him."
There's a lot of, like, again, I don't think Enos would necessarily understand, the idea of, like, honor culture. But, like, there is, I think, something to be said for, like, the subjective aspect of, like, this whole argument comes down to, I don't even say what it is, but Paloma says something insulting about Paz Oro. Aurelia says, "Hey, buddy, you want to repeat that to me?" And Paloma's like, "No, I didn't say it to you." And she's like, "Okay, you want to take it back?" And Paloma's like, "Or what?" And then it's like, it's not like a logical argument of, like, well, here's why you should take it back. But it's more like, okay, you've insulted my friend's honor. You won't retract the statement. I must now challenge you. Will you retract, or will you face consequences for your actions? Unfortunately, House of Spada is always like, consequences. And then we realize, wait a minute, did I want consequences? Hold on a second. Honestly, like, thinking about the history, like, the Code Duello and, like, the idea of, like, restricting it to, like, first blood, first strike, that kind of thing. And that probably comes from the Espada side. And not that I think any of you will be inspired to ask Marquess Espada about it, but he would probably be like, "Oh, yes, no. Before we put the code in, we had a lot more dead people because nobody ever held back. Every fight was for keeps, and it resulted in a lot of dead people."
Yeah, no, don't have anyone challenge Enos to a duel. He is not going to play by the Code Duello. He is not.
Not anymore, I don't think.
No.
I think that right now is kind of like, that is, I do a lot of legwork in this fiction setting up the kind of, like, friction between your houses. Like, I even have a whole paragraph where, like, Aurelia's like, "Hey, it's funny how, like, House Marin was set up by some kind of narrative force to be your rivals, but we're kind of smoothing that one over." Whereas it makes just as much sense for House of Spada, because, like, on the one hand, you guys are of equal rank, but the Marquess of Spada and his family has experienced a great deal of influence due to their connection to the High King. His sister married him, after all. And they're, old friends. Old retainers and all that kind of stuff. But right now, House Logi is really cool. You guys are flush with cash. You're making all kinds of moves, inventing new royal appointments to get appointed to. And, like, like working out stuff. And it kind of seems like Espada's like on the back foot. And, like, their kind of response to that, broods tension. I also like, at one point, Aurelia describes her historical experience with Marquess Espada's expression as, like, He's always keeping his lips carefully pursed so he is neither smiling nor frowning. His brows are always slightly pinched, like he's constantly annoyed. He's always thinking about something, like he's got something on his mind. So, he has thoughts and feelings about what your house is doing and where you're going. And honestly, I think I'll give away a little of the game early. Some of you may find if you actually want to delve that well a little, you may discover that Marquis Espada does not actually line up 100% with the stated culture and values of his province. He might not be the same, young, hip guy like all the rest of his cavaliers who put on their red shirts and charge into battle anymore. He's still got some of that in him because, Moira does a threat display and, he's like, all right, buddy, I don't even take that shit from you. Who do you think you are? Oh my god, she's that good.
I'm about to say, she's more two swords Stygian. Who do you think?
It was 100 years too early for those red shirts to fight her. I don't know. I have to do the sequel escalation so she goes full anime and tells somebody it's 1,000 years too early to fight her.
But no, like I said, I see this opportunity as a good way for Enos to get some of his grievances he has about dueling and and other such things. If such an opportunity applies, I am not going to go out intentionally and make chaos. I can say that much.
We're gonna see what's going because I got a lot of plates in motion, and like I said, it's really gonna depend on who goes where. The only characters who for sure are definitely involved 100% are Leslek has canonically been woken up, and it has been previously established in fiction on Ebel sent Huron out of the castle at midnight to go grab Nicola. I actually did a little research into like Regency and pre-Victorian era stuff, and no, staying up late is a sign of wealth. So you might be expected to stay up as late as the vigil, the 3 a.m. hour, 2 or 3 a.m.
Really?
Wild.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're a military type who you're gonna rise at the crack of dawn every day, you'd probably pack it in earlier.
Okay.
Especially in Celticy, they have the trait of sleeping in the middle of the day.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you might get up, but I think Narissa would be explicitly required to quarters as far. Most of your guests are retiring to their quarters well before, because you would still be settling down at midnight. But it's a thing where it's not you're gonna pass out if you're up late at midnight. It's just most people are gonna be in bed because it's after the hour where you would settle down.
Anos might be up at midnight. He's a creep, but again, being up at midnight and knowing there's a commotion going on are two different things.
And it's obviously it's after midnight a little too, because you guys don't know how much exactly time has passed. I'm not even exactly sure how much time has passed either. That was another great moment where Aurelia, all the adrenaline catches up to her, and she's like, how long has it been? It feels like I've been doing this for an hour, but the next bell hasn't chimed, so it can't be that. Has it been half an hour? Has it been only 10 minutes?
Needless to say, I'm excited. I'm super excited.
Yeah, no. Like I said, I got a lot of bars, lots of stuff for character moments. I don't know if the scene will happen exactly, but I'm also very happy. This was the reason why I wanted you to get your scene out with Baroness Marin early in the week, because I knew this bit was coming, because she's gonna obviously hear some of this shit out when Nicola gets trundled out, because I cannot imagine that Nicola will take this news quietly.
I think I mentioned before, I'm very happy with how the scene with Baroness Marin came out.
No, that was a very good one.
Been playing that one for months.
No, that was a great sequence, and I again, to actually give you a little golf clap, I really admire your intended restraint with that scene. There were times you could have gone harder and pressed me for more direct exposition and being tell me about your life, but you were no, we're not doing that.
No,
this is a moment. It's just for you.
Yes,
let it go. Let the moment breathe. All right, we're cool. And I'm that was great. No, it was a good scene. That's a good scene. All right, okay. We chatted about Rain for 30 minutes anyway.
I wanted to say last thing. Yes, no. Just on your last thing. No, it wasn't because that was not a scene between Enos and Baroness Marin. No, that was supposed to be a scene between Baroness Marin and the late Leo freaking Luke. I was just a guide. So
it's very, very good stuff. All right. Yeah. Outro. Like this video.
Outro.
Leave a comment.
Do it now.
Right now. Right meow. You can even say meow. That'd be very funny if we got a couple of comments that said meow. If Robin listens to this far, he will do it. Join us on Discord. Make sure to ring the bell for notifications. It doesn't start with an A. Don't know where the hell I was going. The blah was very deserved. Ring the bell for to get notifications. Make sure those are all turned on so you see videos. Consider joining the channel memberships to support us, and consider supporting us on Patreon. If you want to read Aurelia's adventures, both Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, that's available on Patreon. You can get our audio of our actual plays on Patreon. You can get the Final Fantasy XIV video, the Tabletop RPG review, on Patreon right now at the 5 and up level, and you'll be waiting until next week sometime for that to go public. Please check that out if you're at all interested in that when it comes out. Because this episode is brought to you by our patrons like, you find that tab, Adam Hart, Plex G, Call Me Zed, Carlos Dragon, JDV9000, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Ramen, and Sharvor. Thank you very much, patrons, both whale patron shoutouts and everybody on down the line. Thanks everybody else for listening this far. We'll see you guys next week for more Let's Talk FGO and more other stuff.
Other stuff.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.